Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. I see a bunch of you in the chat already, and welcome to all of you. Thanks for being here. And also, I think, hold on, let me just double check. Yes, Hessen Youngdi, thank you so much for the follow. That's,
Thank you.
glad you're here.
What
Oh
a
my
way to
gosh,
start.
Hill of a Wolf, thank you so much for that subscription.
Thank
Welcome.
Hey.
Um, Yeah, so we're gonna get started pretty soon here. But before we do, anybody have anything that they want to say about anything that's happening in their lives that is exciting?
Um, I can't. I lost count, but this is like I don't know, maybe roughly 2 weeks of not smoking
Hey,
any
That's
tobacco.
amazing.
Yay, so
Congrats.
For those of
awesome.
you who know me, I smoked. I really don't anymore. Like,
That's
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 well
awesome.
done. I'm proud of you, Freeman.
hey, thanks.
listen. We gotta find what small silver linings there are in all of this.
Hey,
Look at
that's a
my
big
lung-
one. That's a big
my-
old
Oh,
silver lining.
absolutely.
My lungs are absolutely happier with me due to that.
Oh my gosh.
change.
Hessan Youngdi,
That's a
thank
whole
you so much for the.
fortnight.
That's another subscription from
You're
Hessan
right, it is
Youngdi.
a
Thank
whole
you for
fortnight.
the sub.
Woo!
Thanks for the
Mwah.
sub.
Goodness.
Oh my gosh, we're starting off strong.
I know,
Wow.
seriously.
I'm so excited.
Goodness me.
I mean, we might as well just end the stream here because we're not. It's not gonna get. This is. We start up here and then we just. No.
Hey, we have a lot of places to go tonight, all right?
Yes,
we
you're
have
right.
six more colonies to liberate.
Yeah,
Wanna
we do. We
play
have. We got.
Cypher, okay?
Oh man.
All right,
do.
all right, okay. The people have spoken. The people being you guys. So,
Oh wait, I have something.
yes, Caitlin.
You said no one would notice. I'm gonna point it out. I changed the text
Cool.
on our overlay. Everyone, please appreciate it.
Woo!
Yes.
We changed the follow us from a dusty blue to a whatever the white cream color that surrounds all of our boxes is.
Yeah. So now, instead of not knowing whether to follow us or not, now it's very clear. It's right there. It says
Yeah.
in big
That's why
letters,
we got
follow
follows and
us.
subs right off the bat. That's because they can
Yeah.
see
You
it.
can see it now.
Found it.
Yeah, exactly. It's all thanks to Caitlin.
Brought to you by the colored cream. It's actually like a green color every time I color pick it, so it doesn't look like it. But
Interesting.
It is.
Huh. Well, the more
The more you know. Oh
I
my
dig it.
gosh.
Hey.
Twins.
All right. Anybody else? I don't know. Oh, we had our first Rule of Lore 5th edition combat gauntlet last night,
Yes.
run by our very own Der Panduin, Nico. It was very fun. It just served to illustrate how none of us are particularly smart or good at solving puzzles, but we got there in the end. We got there.
I punched imps.
That's-
methods.
That's true. There were a lot of methods, and
It was fun.
I got to use Dimension Door and slap a water elemental with a really intense attack. Just the one. It's my one Nova that I can do. Anyway, it was very fun. So Nico will be doing those periodically. I think he said the first Tuesday of every month. He'll kind of get that information out there when it is coming time. The next one I think is going to be a continuation of ours because we didn't quite finish. Because as I said, we took a very long time on the puzzle. So we're going to finish ours, and then he's going to, I believe the plan is to do more in the future. So, so yeah. Those will be on the lookout for those, which you can find in the LFG channel in our Discord. So if you're not already a member, go jump in on the Discord.
Go forth and join the Discord.
Go forth and join us on Discord. I'm gonna stop doing that. My dynamic or bombastic trailer voice.
Yes.
In a world. Okay, I'm gonna stop. All right. So, I think without any further ado or procrastinating on my part, unless anybody else has anything else they want to talk about.
I'm really excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this game all day, and I'm excited to play games.
Yeah. All right. Then I think we will go ahead and get started. Right now. Once again, it's only been a week, but I've already forgotten how to do everything. Here we go. We're getting started now. All right. See you in a second.
Rolling the intro.
Yeah.
Rolling the intro.
Some will say this is the end. We're surrounded, but we won't give in. No. Who will save us? Who will save us? Sometimes you gotta let go. Leave it up to the hero. Who will save us? Who will save us? When the truth's in the shadows, all hail to the heroes. They're gonna save us. Yeah, save us. Yeah, save us today.
And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. First of all, I want to say welcome to all of those of you who are tuning in live for the first time. Thanks so much for being here. I'm glad you all are able to come hang out with us. You'll be able to see all of the mistakes as they happen instead of edited out like they usually are. I never do that.
We wish.
Yeah, no. No such luck. All right, so with that, I'm going to jump away from the chat and bring back. Once again, I have forgotten to start the audio share. Never mind that it was happening earlier. I will fix that right now. This is an example of those mistakes that get edited out.
No, they don't.
They don't. They definitely don't.
So while you're doing that, one more announcement. Didn't we have a new shirt that was released?
We
recently?
do.
That-
We do have it. And unfortunately, I do not have a slide for that up. I will bring it up at the break. How about that? but
Okay,
yes.
Compromise.
Yeah. Just because I don't want to take any more time than we absolutely have to away from our amazing game that we have planned. Question. Anyway, planned. All right.
It's all scripted.
It's all scripted.
What? You guys never gave me a script.
All right. So, with that, back to bombastic trailer voice for a second. Previously on Infinite Horizon. When we left off, the crew was just coming off the heels of an encounter with their deadliest foe yet, a powered individual who, seemingly in the aftermath of the battle, according to their Voxora synthetic lifeform companion Patch, was probably able to mimic the crew of Awakener's abilities. All of this taking place during the crew of Awakener sort of joining up with a group of freedom fighters in the Zolotera system to hopefully tilt the balance at the very least away from the tyrannical Baron who had taken up the leadership of that region. However, in the wake of this encounter, this very targeted attack on the crew of Awakener, the decision was reached by everyone that they might actually be doing more harm to the resistance and putting them in more danger by being here. And so, after some discussion, decided that it was probably best for them to leave. During that discussion, part of it involved having a conversation with Wire, their mysterious benefactor, who informed them that she might actually have a lead as to where they could start looking for information as to what Silverbreak is so interested in researching. These strange artifacts from of unknown origin that are theorized to have been from an ancient alien civilization that once inhabited this galaxy. Wire concluded that conversation by giving them coordinates to an area in the Border Worlds region of space where this professor, who had absconded from sort of more the center of more academic rich circles, had taken up residence and had built essentially a field research lab to essentially try to learn more about this theorized alien civilization. So, I believe when we left off, the crew had just taken off from the 4th planet in the Zolotera system and had left. Now, I believe for the sake of tonight, I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to start a few days later because, as you recall, one of the things that came as a result of joining in this conflict is that the leader of the resistance, Win, gave you a small crate of weapons as well as some credits, a not a small sum of credits that Bina immediately wanted to put to use to finish repairs on the ship that never got done.
We gotta vote on it still, but that's my pitch.
Mm-hmm. So, actually, my thought is this. I think if it's all right with all of you, we will start kind of at whatever station you all went to enact those repairs and do a resupply and refuel, that kind of stuff. Does that sound good?
Sure.
I think
Is
so.
The station where we met that weapons dealer, is that like the closest one?
Yes, actually, it would be. It actually is.
Okay, we just gotta not run into him. What? Or wait, maybe we give him. Nah.
He probably thinks we're dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, his runners came back. Were they like his employees that we got back from the people, or were they just like
Yep.
people he was doing business? Oh, so
Oh, right.
he probably knows. I don't know what they knew, but
Yeah.
he got his employees back.
Yeah, I guess we don't. It depends on what kind of light they painted us in. Well,
Well,
yeah,
we don't know if we were never in contact with any of the employees,
right. They
so
don't
we
know.
have no idea what they know.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever station. That station will be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, we are going to start.
Oh wait,
Yes.
I had a thought.
Mhm.
I mean, he did say or information. So we could just go back to him and be like, we traced it to this moon. They have a whole base of operations there. They moved from that moon anyways. And there's going to be like, if he decides to go look into it, there's going to be traces of like people, a huge base was there. Like, we'll be bringing him legitimate information, just not like enough to get him his weapons back. So like, if we want to make a tentative ally under dubious terms, like we could also tell him that we got his employees back. So
Yeah, it's a stop that could be done along the way, maybe.
we don't have to, but I'm saying it's something we could keep in the back of our minds.
Not me.
Anyway, sorry,
I'll
continue.
Put my foot in my mouth if it happens.
All right. Well, that's actually a good idea. Like, I think it's a good idea right now at the top of the session to just sort of, rather than playing through, we'll just sort of talk about some of the things that you all do. I assume right now I'm already assuming repair, resupply, refuel. I'm sort of assuming those things.
Yeah, I know specifically Abriel had wanted more medical supplies,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to make sure we prioritize that
Okay.
too.
Cool. We'll count that in amongst the resupply. So.
I would say I think Bina would prioritize medical supplies over ship overhaul. So
Okay.
if there's something that like, if we can get like some nice stuff for Abriel, I will not get the total ship repairs that Bina wants.
Sure. I mean, I think with the amount that you got, it'd be pretty easy to get everything that you need, but it'll run you down to almost nothing.
Okay. So maybe we don't do that. Maybe we do like, how much of the budget would have to be to get the ship to 100%?
Actually, considering what you did before, it's probably a pretty minimal amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
The
could also
resupply is the thing
buy-
that would be more.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the resupply is probably going to be more than that.
Okay.
I think we should also definitely pick up some disguises, some different disguises to wear so that we're not quite so obvious.
Yeah, I think we've been like slowly circulating between like the handful of like outfits that were in the
Like
lockers of Awakener.
custodian number 2, like
Like hoods and goggles and
Yeah.
maybe we can get some fun prosthetics and like some different stuff just to kind of make us look completely different.
Yeah. I'd say that's pretty easy to do and pretty inexpensive. I will say that your if you actually are you actually including talking to the store owner as
Do we want to?
Should we just send like Mason in there for a minute? I feel like Mason was like the best. Like he got along best with the guy.
I don't know.
Mason specifically has an inability in deception.
Yeah.
I have a very.
Oh, okay. I forgot that we were fibbing. I can go in.
We are sort of, yeah.
Okay.
we're-
Well, I'll just say that it was more
Mason can go in for appearances, but then Peach does all the talking.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like that
Sure.
goes over pretty well. He's basically just says that he didn't. It tells you thanks you and didn't expect to see any of his employees still around, just given that outside of the jurisdiction of the Ascendancy, piracy can sort of flourish. So he wasn't really expecting to see any of them again. So he is actually pretty impressed with all of you. He
Hell yeah.
he offers a discount for anything that you buy at his store in the future, if you come back. And do you still want the stuff that you had gone in there to get, that he had set aside for you, pending the completion of this job?
Unit does want armor at some point, but if that's not something we were given by Win, then
No, it probably wouldn't have been.
okay.
I think that we don't need exactly what he offered us because he offered us like a starter kit and we have a lot of basic
Right.
weapons. But if there's like specific things that people want, like if Bina wanted armor,
Yeah, I had. It was like I think I had said I was looking for something that was like wearable, like wrist wearable, that was like a hollow shield or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
That would be my armor kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Bina gave us a shopping list.
that's pretty standard equipment amongst like riot gear and stuff like that. But there's also like less like intrusive versions of it that are like a little smaller, and not quite. We're talking the difference between like buckler and tower shield here. Like
Yeah. Yeah, Bina really can't take a hit when it comes to might, and I know a lot of us are in a similar boat. So like, I just feel like maybe now that we're doing a little bit more dangerous things and we have someone who's actively out to get us, it might be useful if maybe we could like make a deal with him, forgo the weaponry because we're okay on that, and maybe ask for a modified like defensive.
That's a
modify the
great
deal
idea.
for defensive things
Yeah,
instead of offensive.
I think armor is something that we definitely would keep
Sure.
in mind, especially given the fight we were just in.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we would definitely.
I would have
want.
propositioned that to the
Yeah.
crew.
I would say that we can work out the specifics later, but we'll just say that yes, you can have
Yes.
that.
Yay!
That's easy enough to do. So, any other sort of procedural things you want to get out of the way while on the station?
What's Jade's favorite food?
Yeah,
I wanna
we
bring
should get like
back-
some snacks too.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're gonna stock up the pantry.
I'm gonna say that Jade's favorite food is definitely pizza.
Good.
Okay, we're stocking up on some pizzas.
Frozen pizza. Dehydrated pizzas, actually, probably.
Ancient human
Yeast.
delicacy.
Ah, yes.
I need everyone to know that I made a full, like, gnocchi chicken bolognese out of entirely dehydrated foods the other day, and it's one of the best meals I've ever had. So, like,
Hey.
What?
our totally dehydrated everything in this world is, if it's any better than it is now, it would be, like, higher quality food that I'm used to eating. So,
That's
Yeah.
exactly what Bina made last time.
oh, yes. Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think Peach would definitely pick up some weird foods for Bina to make if she's busy doing like ship stuff.
I love the
Bunch of
idea that like
dehydrated
at
stuff.
some point after that one dinner where Bina just sort of threw a bunch of random shit together, it becomes something of like a challenge, right? Where anytime anybody resupplies, they get a bunch of random stuff for
Really
like
weird stuff,
really
like-
Oh,
weird
yeah, for
stuff.
sure.
See what Bina can do
Can we
with
throw
it.
her for a loop or will it be good? Like,
Right.
It's like everyone's like 50-50 on I want this to like go poorly to prove that it can, but like also I'm curious to see how good it will be. Like Bina cooks how I do, but like to an extreme where I'm like, if these two things smell good, they'll probably taste good together. So it doesn't know what sometimes she doesn't know what the hell she's cooking with, but
Yep.
it turns out fun.
Okay.
Good food.
So
We buy like burner phones.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not.
Burner terminals.
Thinking like we probably all have people that we want to contact, and like we don't want to use our communicators because they're probably trackable pretty easily.
Well, that's what one of the things that Wire did is made the like essentially like the ship's communications are you would not be able to be tracked just by like they wouldn't be able to be tracked back to the ship's location. Like that's one of the things that Wire did. So you could already you can already do that from the ship itself.
Okay, never mind then.
Okay, so we'll start off at the top with Mason as you're just sort of wandering the Awakener. It's probably been a couple of days on the station already during like repairs and resupply, mainly just getting stuff from loaded onto the ship and then applied. Bina and Jade have been pretty hard at work getting any sort of engine maintenance, routine sort of engine maintenance stuff done. And there, unfortunately, other than your brief encounter with the at the weapons store, you haven't really had a whole lot to do, Mason. So today sees you on just sort of a one of your now routine pacings of the vessel. As you're just sort of wandering through, Bina and Jade, you can hear the sounds of them sort of chattering back and forth, occasionally sort of lighthearted bickering taking place. You kind of turn towards making your way towards the cockpit. As you step into the cockpit, you notice that Patch is sitting in Olam's usual spot at the sensor and communications station, just sort of seated there. As you step inside, Patch doesn't seem to have noticed you immediately, as they are currently just sort of giving a quick look. They appear to be just currently looking at an not active, but at a communications at the communications display. And that's kind of what you see as you're looking over. Looking outside through the view screen, you can see what looks like Olam and Peach outside, just sort of starting to move some of the other, coming back from a supply run, grabbing some of their last minute supplies. That's kind of what you see stepping into the cockpit. As you're standing there for a moment, eventually Patch sort of seems to suddenly become aware of you and sort of looks over, says, "Ah, I was not aware that anyone was present."
Hey, sorry if I startled you.
I am not startled.
Oh, yeah. Pardon me. Yeah. Mind if I sit?
Of course. I am
Oh,
just a passenger.
Oh, yeah, you deserve your privacy just like the rest of anybody else.
I will take that into consideration. You glance over as you're sitting down. You watch as they close the communications display and swivel the seat around and turn to watch you. There's just sort of a couple of moments as you just sort of sit there, sort of staring silently at each other.
Making any important calls?
No calls. I was simply curious about the ship's systems.
Yeah, I haven't made any calls either. Too risky.
Yes, of course.
What exactly are you looking at?
I and my people range beyond our borders to learn about the galaxy beyond. I am simply attempting to learn about the construction of various forms of technology of other species. I understand
Yeah.
this ship is something of a oddity.
Honestly, I don't understand half of it. It's not my specialty. Specialty.
I see.
Am I getting any kind of like odd vibe about him when I enter the room?
I mean, always.
Oh, fair.
They're always kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're a little
fair enough.
they're a little odd all the time. The finer points of socialization with organics is not exactly their strong suit. As is evidenced by the continued extended silence between the two of you. Eventually, Patch stands and says, "I am going to assist with bringing supplies on board."
Oh my god.
Okay.
They turn and exit the bridge.
Man, to be a fly in the wall in our room.
I love Patch. I don't know if I've said that enough, but I love Patch.
I just want to note that Peach definitely, if she was given any credits on her own, definitely bought stuff to make the place feel more homey, like home decor.
I bet there's like a genre of like decor. There's like home decor and like outdoor decor, but I'm sure there's ship decor
Oh, absolutely.
that like
Mhm.
exists.
Oh yeah.
Crate and barrel, but for
Just make it
I got like
Barn
a
for
mini
ships.
golf, a ship mini golf kit.
There you
know,
go.
like
Yep.
just a little live, laugh, love right by the door.
oh my god. Peach got a sign that says "Dream Big."
one of those like but more like space theme, like the shoot for the moon, so even if you miss, you land among the
Oh,
stars.
God. I like to think that those have not made it to this galaxy.
I hope not. What one terrible tacky decor that was crucial to the human race that it made 1,000+ years and
Inexplicably,
and endless space miles to like get
Lava
there.
lamps.
Yeah.
I was
Definitely lava
gonna say
lamps.
inexplicably like bobbleheads, like
Yes,
just
Pop figure.
Pez dispensers. Like
I was thinking like some nice decorative pillows, like in some of the bridge chairs,
Yeah.
like stuff like that.
yeah, just like a throw blanket, and like the
Yeah. You guys come back after like an hour of snapping, and just like the entire ship is just redecorated.
on like one of the trips from the cockpit back down to the engine room and like back, Bina's like carrying boxes and she's like, you better have brought, like while she's moving, like does not stop talking to you, better bought stuff that gets strapped down because it's not going to stay where it's at for very long, most likely with the trajectory we've been heading. And she goes back up to the
Oh, nothing breakable. Be-
I'll fall over.
Bina, as you're making your way back to the engine room, you see Jade walking out of the engine room, pulling off his gloves, and just sort of like there's like soot stains, like just sort of and grease, just kind of all over his face as he sort of looks at you. He says, "Okay, I finished installing the new power couplings, so everything should be squared away there."
High fives. She holds up forearms and then puts down two, and then
yeah, he kind of puts his gloves under his hands and then just. Anyway, so those should be good. I ran some additional checks, and I think we're ready.
Nice.
We can as soon as we get the last of it on board, I think we're ready to take off. So
Nice. We're getting fast. We're getting pretty quick at this.
yeah, it's getting easier.
Told you, learning on the job.
He smiles, and then suddenly, like his face falls, and he kind of glances kind of up towards like the direction of the med bay, and sort of like this concerned expression. And he just says, "Abriel says that she's fine, but she just needs to rest. She won't let me in there to see her, so."
That's fair. I did tell the rest of the crew that no one was allowed in there except for you. So you and Abriel, obviously. But if Abriel says doctor's orders, then maybe we just wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you seen her at all since you brought her in there?
I mean, he says. I mean, after just as we were taking off, I was in there for a little while, and then I went to sleep, but not since then.
Okay.
So.
Well, when visiting hours are allowed, we'll let you go in first, right, bud?
Okay.
Okay. mean, we need someone to introduce her to us, so obviously.
Right. Yeah, I can do that. Anyway, power couplings. They're
Nailed it.
yeah. I'm gonna go maybe get some of this off and
Yeah, you stink. Go shower. Take a rest.
okay.
We picked out something very tasty, and it's definitely in the mess hall that you might enjoy, that we can definitely have for dinner if you'd like to get started on that.
Did Peach get pizza?
I can neither confirm nor deny the
Yes.
existence of pizza in our mess hall.
Okay, I'm gonna go clean up. And he
Okay.
like runs down the hallway. Olam and Peach, as you are sort of like starting to unload the hover sled, just sort of setting the supplies in their appropriate closets. You can hear in the distance running footsteps, and as you look over your shoulder, you can see just sort of like running in between doorways. You see just Jade running like up.
That's probably okay, right? He does that. I say to Peach.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Sorry. Can you say that again?
I just like as I turned after I see him running, I'm just like, that's normal, right?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah. Of
dangerous
course.
going on, right? Okay.
No. No. Not that I know of.
I'm start lifting stuff. Real quick. So last time we learned the name of the like archaeologist we're going in search of, right? May I say it's true that I'm sort of familiar with their work, being the kind of person who reads about weird pseudo history shit on the internet?
I think that's absolutely appropriate. I think you definitely would.
Okay, so then I'm like, as we're doing this, I'm like, so knowing who the person is, do I know like what species they are and what gender they are and stuff?
Yeah, you would know that Professor Alessander Tenoris was at one point a highly respected exoarchaeologist. He is Anzalonian.
Cool. Perfect.
And at some point he started positing the theory of some sort of ancient alien culture that once inhabited the galaxy, and perhaps even some vestiges of them still remain in other unexplored parts of the galaxy beyond the border worlds, where as yet there have been no further exploration, at least not by anybody on this side of the border worlds, that is. But he has sort of kind of begun positing that, but without much evidence to back up his claims, he was sort of laughed out of his department, and which sort of led to just sort of further and further off the wall kinds of claims that just kept getting ignored. And basically, the last you had heard of him was that he had quit his tenured position at one of the more respectable universities in the Commonwealth, and had just sort of chartered a ship and disappeared. Yeah.
Okay, so as we're like unloading crates, I'm excitedly explaining all this stuff to Peach, like, because then upon learning his name, I like triggered my memory, and I have like a middling okay, I'm slipping the character. I have a middling understanding of his theories, and they've been rejected by almost all of academia. The thing is, there was a moment where he was the top of the field. He was gonna come lecture, but I missed his lecture because I was sick. It's one of the things I regret most. But now, whatever place he's in, his fall from grace, I'm not sure what kind of lecture we're gonna get now.
Maybe an exclusive one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Guess there's only one way to find out, huh?
Right, yeah. Honestly, I can't wait to get off this station. I'm not... Well, all of this is uncomfortable, but as odd as it sounds, I want to be moving again. And just because it's Professor Tenoris, that's just icing on the cake. Again, in whatever state he's in now.
you suddenly hear a voice from behind you, Olam, as you turn, and Alma's just standing there, and she says, "That may actually be sooner than you think. I hope you have all of the supplies on board, because my sensors just pinged several Silverbreak ships jumping into the system, so we might want to be gone
Shit.
soon."
Yeah, I turned to be like this. I think this is the last of this load, at least, right? I think. Yeah. Does Bina know?
I was going there next, actually, but
All right.
Yeah, we'll finish unloading everything and
Okay.
get on our way.
sounds
I can
good.
cancel that last order I made.
All right.
I really wanted those extra throw pillows, but I think we might have to do that.
I'm just trying to make sure everybody's comfortable.
No, I know, and it's a great idea. Just time,
Yeah.
You turn back to Alma, and she's just not there anymore.
Oh, all right. I'll start shutting everything down, getting ready to go.
Bina, the first you hear of any of this is ship's engines coming online all of a sudden as you're like stowing things in the engine room.
Oh, okay. All four arms. She's like pushing it back in, like cramming the thing shut, and still like, okay, bridge, here I come, and she's
Yeah.
running here as fast as her little legs can take her up,
You
back upstairs.
as you're running past the crew quarters, like a shirtless Jade is like sticking his head out into the hallway and just saying, like, clearly like partially still like a little bit wet, just like, "Where are we moving? What's going on?"
I guess we're going. Buckle up, and she's
Okay.
running.
And he goes back.
Bina has no idea the state of anything is. The engine's just started, which means she needs to be on the
Yeah.
bridge right now, immediately.
You jump run into the bridge, and as you do, you can see Alma.
Leapfrogs over the
Yeah,
seat that's
Alma's
available.
already in the co-pilot seat and is sort of bringing things online, just sort of over recent days. While she has made no mention whatsoever of the like previous your previous interaction with her, where she sort of had a very panicked reaction to Silverbreak's proximity. But she has not said a single word about it. Hasn't said anything at all.
Then Bina wouldn't have pressed
Right.
in any way.
She has also been sort of making it more of a habit recently. You've noticed of being physically in the cockpit rather than. I mean,
Nice.
you would know that she definitely has the capacity to run basically everything without being physically present. But she has been, for whatever reason, seemingly making an effort to actually be there. So when you arrive in the cockpit, her
Bina is always delighted. Like anytime she's like, I think when Bina starts realizing that it's becoming more of a habit, she's just always just like that much more excited and make sure that like Alma knows she's good to see her.
Yeah.
Or she's glad to see her.
Yeah, and at this point, when you find her in the cockpit this particular time, as she's bringing ship's systems online, she is doing so physically, like typing, pressing buttons, etc.
Soon as butt hits chair, what's the news?
Just
What do we see?
a couple of Silverbreak patrol vessels just jumped into the system. I'm figuring we want to be gone before they make it to the station.
Okay, I'm gonna everybody on group chat, voice chat. Is everybody on board? Are we good?
Yeah, they just securing the hatch.
We're just
On board.
loading up the last thing. We're all good.
Okay, we've got Silverbreak on sensors. I think we're gonna go.
I think it's probably at this moment that Bina would also notice that Mason is in the cockpit too.
Oh, hello.
But I respond with the.
Yes. Yeah.
Just like
Ooh, you get the weird echo like effect.
yeah, just like the dead stare, and like, yeah, I'm good.
Bina goes, good to know, and she's gonna spin back on her chair.
Abriel responds, "All checked in here."
Do we have
Well,
patch
we
on
better
this
find-
frequency too?
We better sit down.
Yeah. You hear Patch also coming over. "I am aboard."
Okay, everybody, just get into a sitting position with maybe a handhold or strapped in. Trying to be better about warning for that. Last time we tried to get off station while they were in range, it went poorly
Alma
for
turns.
some of us.
Alma turns.
Very
just goes,
sorry.
Bina.
It started. We're going. I'm alright. She's got two hands going at on the console in front of her while she's got one up and like talking.
All right.
Yeah, like two are gesturing and the other two are steering.
Yep.
Yeah. So
We're
once
like getting ready to like docking, like legs are coming up and we're getting ready to go.
all right. So once again, as Awakener,
She feels bad still. She hurt her friend on accident. She's not used to having other people in ships with her.
yeah. So once again, Awakener departing from the station, you get the all clear to depart, and the the hangar bay doors slide open as you turn and just sort of exit out the station into space. Even at this distance, you can see the Silverbreak patrol vessels. They are quite large. Not battleship levels of large, but they're substantial. A pair of patrol vessels that have just entered. They appear to be on approach to the station, and as you turn and exit, you make your way towards the space lanes, and just as you arrive, Alma looks up and says, "Ready for jump."
Here we go. And I will engage, or whatever the word we have to use in this universe.
All right. You all feel that very subtle jolt as the ship jumps to FTL, leaving both the station and the Silverbreak vessels behind. Alma just sort of, as you finish, says, "Jump complete. I'm setting in the coordinates for our relay to the our relay to the nearest conduit, and then it'll be onto the border worlds."
Great.
Do you need me for anything else?
I mean, you're free to do as you please. I think we're good for now.
Okay. She just dematerializes.
Bye. Then she turns on. I said, "How's it going?"
Yeah. Oh, me?
Yeah, you're the other one. You're the other one in the
Mason,
room.
Mason does say that. Oh, me. Sorry, I got lost in thought. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm hoping I strapped everything down in the engine room. Well, I just got excited that the engines were on.
Oh, well, we'll learn soon enough.
We will. Do you have a good break? I guess we were on the station for probably a couple hours max.
I mean, it's always good to stretch your legs, no matter how short or how long it is.
Oh yeah, long space travel, you have to get off. You got to get off. When we dock, it's good. No matter, I mean, we have to be careful, how we look and not catching other people's attention and stuff. But like, long time space travel is good to walk around on. It's not quite planet side, but station side, so better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm always walking in here. I'm always looking around, walking and stretching my legs, thinking.
At this exact moment, you hear the beeping of the intercom, and as you glance down, activating it, you hear Abriel's voice says, "Well, now that that's dealt with, if whoever's interested, our stowaway is awake and ready to receive visitors."
I'll be there soon. And then I'm gonna just text terminal to Jade, just Jade, and say, "You're on, buddy."
All right.
How long did we have between like the warning that we had to leave to when we actually left? Like, did Olam and I have time to leave the storage area, or are we just like chilling in there?
I mean, you probably would have been able to like to find a place to sit in there, because there are benches in there. Just
Okay.
sort of like, I picture it very much like kind of a larger version of In the Millennium Falcon, where like Luke and Obi-Wan were training, right? And there's like the Dejeric table in the corner and like all that. Like, it's basically very much like a larger version of that, where it's sort of storage space, but there's also like, it's a pretty substantial cargo space, but there's also just sort of seating areas as well.
Okay, good, because I was just imagining Olam and I sitting cross-legged in between crates, like just chilling, like talking.
Just holding onto the cargo netting and like.
I'm sure there's in like a lot of ships, there's like, especially ones with a lot of space, like that there's random seating with straps in various places, like around vessels, just in case of
yeah, absolutely
bizarre piloting suddenly. Like,
yeah,
quick, strap in, it's an emergency.
There would absolutely have to be, because there, like, you never know where you're gonna be when there's some sort of emergency. So you need to be able to just like, there are probably even places in some of the corridors where you can actually pull down emergency seating. Stuff like that. So
flight attendant seats, just
yeah,
all seats
basically
scattered throughout this ship. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So at this point, who's heading where? Is everybody going to the med bay, or just?
I'm going to med bay.
Yeah. As soon as I hear that, I'm curious.
Okay. Let me just sort of. Okay. Cool. Um, who else? Sorry,
Oh.
who else is going?
I'll go.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I would also I would maybe hang back a little, but I definitely go. I want to get eyes on this random person
Okay.
in our
I'll hang
ship.
back as well, but I'll be in there for sure. That sounds like a good.
All right.
Beta wants to try very hard to get there first. So just in case Jade isn't there before her, she can stop anyone else from going in until Jade goes in.
Yeah.
Like she's like, huh. They're all 5 foot nothing over all forearms. Like, no, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
Actually, when you get there, Jade is already inside.
Okay, good.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Still just sort of like now, just sort of wearing like a loose shirt. That looks like he just sort of tossed it over really quick. Hair still like wet and messy, but as he's standing there, Bina, you as you're stepping in to the med bay, you see Abriel just sort of keeping a respectful distance in the corner, just sort of going over charts. She looks up, nods to you. Jade is standing next to the examination table or bench, I guess, and you see a young woman, probably about the same age as Jade, maybe a little younger, or it's hard to say exactly because she is of a species known as the Nelfin. They are, they are a sort of plant-based sentient species, bipedal.
Plant-based?
Yeah. She in particular, you can see as mostly like very like humanoid features, with the exception of just sort of her eyes are sort of as those of many of her species are a sort of luminous kind of bluish green color. Her skin is sort of almost if you've ever like zoomed like looked at a leaf through a microscope, it's that same sort of like the my biology knowledge is escaping me, but essentially like the patterned like the leaf cells. I forget. Yeah. Anyway, patterned like a leaf cells basically, where there's sort of like this almost geometric sort of look to them.
Chloroplast.
Yes.
Is that it?
Well, it's something like that. Yes, something like that. Anyway, we'll get there. My brain is blanking on the exact
It
terminology.
helped make these guys. I can't
It's
remember
okay.
what word we looked up.
Yeah.
I
You were an
Googled it.
English major.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, her skin is sort of a pale greenish color.
Yes, chloroplast.
Thank you. And
Maybe.
right now her expression is one, as she's sort of talking to Jade, sort of very hushed tones. She kind of glances over to all of you, or to Bina first in the doorway, and then immediately followed by Mason, as well as Peach and Olam, who like just show up right at that moment. She looks, and you can see that like sort of Bina, even without your empathic abilities, it's easy enough to sense the apprehension in her entire demeanor.
Yeah.
And Jade looks up, following her gaze, says, "Oh, hi everybody. This is Sedona. She's been living on our ship for a while."
Nice to meet you.
Welcome, formally.
She doesn't respond. She's just still kind of
Yeah.
watching. Jade, as he's talking to her, kind of stands up from the seat and stands next to her, kind of facing you in what is like sort of low key, almost like defensive sort of posture.
Oh.
As he says, she hasn't done anything. I mean, she's just been living in some of the maintenance access parts of the ship.
Well, I mean, that's not super comfortable. I'm sure we've got like a bed that might be nicer.
He kind of turns to her, and as she just sort of looks up at him and like kind of glances up at him, but doesn't take her eyes off any of you.
Bina like purposefully playing dumb that he's insinuating that we might be worried that she's been tampering with things, like purposely being like, I promise we're not gonna throw you off. Basically, is the impression she's trying to give off here with her words.
Jade seems not to be picking up on that because his immediate next words are, "She doesn't really have anywhere to go. She was just trying to find a way to get off of Sulon, and she doesn't know where to go and doesn't have anywhere else to be. So,
well, like I said, I think we got room. We got beds. Think might be more comfortable than maintenance ducks. Just someone with experience. Definitely not saying, but definitely have slept in maintenance ducks before. The beds here aren't perfect, but they're more comfy than that."
He turns and looks at her, and she looks up at him, back to you, and just kind of nods. He says, "Yeah, yeah. Oh, do you want to go now? Can she go now?" And Abriel just sort of looks up from her charts, just looks from Jade, and then looks directly to the four of you standing in the doorway, and she just says, "Sure, medically she's fine." And
well, I mean, she could join us for dinner at the table instead of under the floor.
Jade just nods. He says, "Yeah, we'll see." And he says, "Do you want to? I can show you to the crew quarters." And she just sort of doesn't say anything. Just sort of steps, like kind of sits up and swings her legs off of the bench, and she sort of stands slowly. As she stands, she is probably barely taller than Bina. Like,
but she's tiny.
Yeah, she's maybe just about 5'1", 5'2", maybe. As she sort of standing there, Jade says, "All right, come on, I'll show you." And he walks towards you, and
I will step to the side so I don't overcrowd her or anything.
Yeah, so he walks towards you, and she immediately like takes a few quicker steps to like stand like right behind Jade, and like doesn't make eye contact with any of you as she's walking past.
Hey, hi, I'm Olam.
Oh yeah, I'm Bina. Hi, that was really rude.
I was about to ask if Jade had introduced us, but
oh yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm sure he's talked about us, but that doesn't mean she knows who we are.
Yeah.
Jade goes, "Oh right, yeah, that's Bina, and I told you about her, and that's Peach.
All of it's true.
Nice to meet you.
And that's Mason and Olam." She still doesn't make any eye contact with any of you. She's looking directly down at her feet.
So my question, how common, what was the name of this alien race again?
Nelfin. That's
Nelfin?
Nelphin.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
do you want to like commonly known facts about them? Just list a couple for audience and also people on this stream who are not in the writer's room.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nelfin are after Enzolonian and Keldro, Nelfin are the most populous race in the galaxy. They are everywhere, mainly because of their wide adaptability. They are able to adapt to anywhere that is habitable. They can sort of adapt to that environment.
They can take on the plant type like characteristics of the planet they inhabit.
Yes, both physically and even in terms of personality, a little bit. I know that there are other cool things related to that, but they are escaping me at the moment. Caitlin, do you remember some of them?
I know that like it doesn't take. I remember it doesn't take long for them to adapt. Like they have like they're very. That's why they can live literally anywhere. That's why they're so populous.
Yeah. They tend to.
They live forever.
Yeah,
they have like political affiliations.
Yes, many of them. Their political affiliations are as varied as they are.
Okay.
So
Because they can join pretty much any culture, any
Based
civilization,
on
anywhere.
yeah, that's interesting.
yeah,
They're
so
very adaptable.
Mhm.
Like they can just blend into any society, any
yeah.
cultural.
In fact,
yeah.
apart from the Enzalonians, they may actually have the be the species that has um, m- members of their species, like settlements and civilizations, on the most number of worlds, apart from the Enzalonians. Because they
Shocking writers' room fact. I in fact did not pitch this alien. As much as everyone knows I fucking love plants.
yeah, this one was me.
This was not a Caitlin pitch.
this
I
was
helped make them, but
this was
this is a Lucas.
a Lucas pitch. But yeah, so they tend to be found basically everywhere. Anywhere there's any sort of major civilizations, you'll probably find some Nelfin around.
They live for a very long time. Their longevity is kind of like absurd.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, they tend to be pretty communal minded. They what were you gonna say?
They have like low key, not quite empathic or they have like like communal bonds with like where they have like the way that like plants can kind of communicate and have like just being in proximity to other plants. They kind of have that with other Nelfin.
Yeah.
Would it be unusual then for us to find like one on their own?
No.
Like,
No, probably
okay.
not. I mean, especially considering that Sulon itself has a pretty large community of Nelfin,
Okay.
a large population of Nelfin. It's not unusual.
They have
Okay.
like they have things that they can do in a community setting, but that doesn't mean they're always
Right.
communal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So as Jade and Sedona make their way past the group of you in the direction of the crew quarters, Abriel stands up and she sort of looks out kind of the window that watches them pass, and then turns back. She says,
So we have to talk about this a little bit, probably.
yeah, I would say so.
Yep.
She's healthy as far as I can tell. Everything checks out. Maybe a little undernourished, but we can fix that. It's to be expected from living in maintenance access ways for a couple weeks. I'm more concerned with what she's doing here. I mean, a lot of ships come and go from Sulon.
Why ours?
And if she's telling the truth, what's she running from? Sulon seems like a nice place to live.
Yeah.
I mean,
Except for
she's
that-
kind of a kid. She's pretty young. Could just be a runaway situation, but it could be worse than that. So
I'm much more worried about him than I am about any of us.
Yeah, she has pretty deep hooks in Jade.
The kid cares a lot, but he's too trusting and he's very protective of her.
Well, I don't think we have to be unkind to her, but if we could get her to answer any questions, I'd feel more comfortable.
I mean, she's uncomfortable as hell right now.
I'm
She's
just
probably
saying-
definitely going to take some warming up.
I'm just saying we should keep an eye on her.
Absolutely.
There are blind spots in the ship that Alma can't see, which is how she was able to be hidden for so
Yeah,
long.
that's what the kid
Isn't
said.
that in itself though is really odd that she figured out how to do that.
With a benefit of the doubt outlook, I would say it was an accident, and then Jade helped her from there when he ran into her. But on the other hand, I don't know.
I don't know if we're in a position to give people the benefit of the doubt right now.
To be fair, that's all we've been doing. Just saying.
True.
I know it has to stop somewhere, but
Yeah.
this might not be the one. I
It's
just say we
true.
gotta look at all of it. And I'm fine to be hesitant.
All I'm saying is
But-
that we should keep an eye on her and maybe try not to take on too many strays.
Yeah, well, that's kind of been a trend, hasn't it?
Is
The
Patch standing here
We're
too?
no,
just a
Patch is
friend to
Patch is
all.
in here.
Okay. Yeah, I like glance to the side and
Hey, Alma.
Um,
She does. If she does,
she does.
Fina will wait like a second.
Yeah,
but
she appears. She does materialize inside the med bay.
would you be okay keeping an eye out?
I'll do my
Just
best, but
Yeah, I know there's limitations, but just passive when you can.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Once again, dematerializes. Abriel nods and says, "Well, as
Hold
long-
on. Did Avril have any sort of reaction to Alma being here?
no, not really.
Okay.
Maybe just got maybe a little bit tense, but mostly just
Okay.
was like,
Like
This is-
Avriel's always
This is my
tense.
life now.
yeah.
more resigned than
Yeah.
combative.
Abriel looks up. She says, "As long as we're all on the same page about this." Which reminds me, I have the final results of the tests I was running. I'm
Oh.
setting them up in the observation room so that we can all look at them.
Should we go now?
I
that-
need a moment to set it up, but
Okay.
whenever you're free, I'll be up there.
I mean, we're in
Okay.
jump time right now. Like we're jumping
Yeah.
currently. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have to do much for a little bit at least.
Okay. Give me about 10 minutes to get that all set up and ready,
Okay.
and
make some
also to
coffee.
close up around here.
Yep. Yeah, we'll go to like are we near like the common area? I always feel like the med bay's near the common area. Maybe that's conflated in my brain.
I mean, it is, but it's above it.
Oh, okay.
So So essentially, the way that that this section of the ship is built is that there is the long straight corridor that leads directly to the bridge and past the secret room as well as the crew quarters that and then goes to the bridge. And as going the other way, it goes towards the hold, which is takes up 2 decks. One of which the deck that the bridge is on just has these 2 long kind of walkways that line the side of the hold and the common area and are above it.
I'm not gonna lie, I just got really excited about ship schematics.
Yeah, and
I just had a moment where I was like, "Oh shit, it would be so cool to have like know what this looked like."
So,
So I'm at next week.
I
I'm
have-
writer's room. I'm gonna make you show me
oh,
what it looks like.
I have the front part of the ship on this deck drawn.
Good. I want it.
Yeah, but okay, I think Caitlin's threatening me. Caitlin is threatening me. I would like all of chat to bear witness. If I go missing, you know what happened.
A lot of witnesses.
Yeah.
you know there's blind spots in this.
There's blind spots on Awakener.
Alma can't see y'all.
Alma can't protect you.
Anyway, as far as the med bay, it is the first door on the right upon exiting the corridor that leads to the bridge. So like it's the first door on the right along the walkway that sort of encircles the hold.
Before we leave the med bay, or maybe if everybody's leaving and I'm still there, I am very curious, and I know I did something in another episode, and I want to try and do it again. I want to try and use premonition to see into a moment of Sedona, like her. Basically, I want to track why she ran away. Like, I want to kind of find a moment that she had the most heightened fear, like what drove her to run onto our ship, like that moment. And premonition allows me to see specifically a random fact about a creature that is pertinent to a topic you designate. So
Okay.
That is cool.
Cool.
yeah, so I'm basically just walking up to where she was laying and kind of like putting my hands on it and just trying, like I did back when we were on the what was it, Geoterra, back to do that.
Yeah. You just sort of run a hand along kind of just where she was laying, kind of her impression's still there in the cushion. And as you do, you feel that same sort of tunnel vision sensation once again as everything around around you just sort of fades, not completely to black, but just sort of like grayscale around you. Everything just sort of fades to the background, and your focus just sort of is drawn in. And suddenly you're seeing and feeling Sedona's fear. You are seeing suddenly through her eyes as she's running along um, what is clearly a street on Sulan. As she is kind of turning various corners, you can see as she suddenly stops and just ducks down in between some debris on one of the streets and just sits, and you can almost, as if it was you feeling it, you can feel that her chest sort of going in and out quickly. Standing there, you feel her suddenly become still, as if she's holding her breath, and then you hear running footsteps. And as you look, you see a whole bunch of figures running past her point. A small group, and then not long before, an even smaller group. And you watch as they pass, sort of indistinct figures. She sort of gets up and looks down the alleyway. Not seeing anyone, she turns and nearly runs into another figure, sort of walking. As she stops and looks up, and you can see a hand coming down, and then suddenly you're somewhere else. You are on board a platform. This one, you recognize this location. This is where Awakener had touched down, where Bina's contact had agreed to allow it to stay docked illicitly. You can see from her perspective as she is moving along the platform, doing her best to keep her head down, and it working pretty well as nobody even glances twice in her direction. And before long, you can see as she's looking at Awakener, she glances over her shoulder, looking back what you can determine is the way she came. And as she looks over her shoulder, you can see a flurry of activity, as like a bunch of running and movement as she suddenly, you can feel that tension, that fear, that jolt of fear again as she looks back to the ship and just runs up the ramp. There's something in there that you can determine. It feels like, if you didn't know any better, you'd say it feels like loss. But there's something about that moment as you zero in on that feeling, you begin sort of pushing. There's something that just drives you out of that moment, and you kind of come back to yourself on this on the ship in the med bay. Still just sort of, you kind of removing your hands slowly from the bed.
Huh. Wonder what she was running from.
Abriel looks up, says, "Sorry, what was that?"
I wish we knew what she was so afraid of. And at that point, I'm just gonna walk out and try and find. Unless Abriel had something else to say,
No,
I'm kind of lost in thought at that point.
Yeah.
Pull a Bina, and this conversation is done. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Unless anybody has anything specific that they want to do right now, we can go ahead and cut directly to the observation room. About 10 minutes later, you find yourselves in the observation room, starting to settle in. Some of you, maybe for the first time, are aware of Mason's hollow boards up on the walls that are still present.
Does he keep them up or does he take them down? Because I mean, it would be an easy thing to just like.
Oh,
take it
absolutely,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was just wondering if they were like
Interesting.
all up, or if he took them with him as
I-
to like keep
Oh,
his
I forgot.
notes close to him.
Interesting
It
notes.
was a really late night.
Abriel is currently standing at the center table, which is currently projecting a bunch of files that she's sort of sorting through at the moment as you enter. And she says, "Okay, so I was looking over my findings from the blood samples that I took from all of you. I gave you sort of my preliminary findings before, but I did a little bit more digging because I saw something that I didn't really understand, but it looked really familiar to me, and I was trying to pin it down because it was you know when you see something familiar and you can't quite place it, and it just sort of sticks with you in your mind, and I figured it out. She points, and you can see what is pretty clearly just sort of a strand of DNA. It's sort of projected holographically above the table. She says, "Okay, so this right here is almost a typical human DNA strand. If you look right here," and she kind of like watches the hollow image zooms into a small section. Just right here, this sequence right here. There's a strand here that doesn't quite belong. And she kind of points it out. She highlights it. She says, "Now, I first saw this a while ago because what this right here is a DNA scan that I had kept with me for a while, but I'd sort of forgotten about, mainly because a lot has happened. This is the first patient that was brought in on the EOS colony. One of the first warped. This is the one that I scanned back before there was, well, a full-on outbreak, I guess is the best word for it. Now, look at this." And she throws up four more DNA strands as she looks. Says, "These are yours. These are the scans that I took from of your blood samples. And these are what I saw." And she sort of zooms in. She says, "Every single one. That same DNA sequence. A little slight variations here and there, but the basics of it are the same."
Did Peach and Mason ever tell us about the weird rock thing or the floating orb that they saw in the vision?
I think Peach
Did-
mentioned it, right?
Did you talk about that to us at some point?
I think I did. Yeah, I
Okay.
think at some point. Yeah, because I think I talked about it with Skrissa, and then I think we talked
Okay.
about it.
I was
later.
just to know if at some point in any of our downtime, if we had debriefed on all of the
Yeah,
angles that everyone kind of knew about. Okay, that's just
I
fine.
think Peach definitely
Okay.
would have.
Yeah, that's
shared
reasonable
that.
to assume.
Okay. So, hear me out. I don't do science.
I do, and I don't understand this. So
I know.
anything you've got.
Theory. No, theories are proven. Hypothesis.
Good.
What if the warped are a result of ambient exposure to that thing that Peach saw, and we are a result of intentional exposure in a very specific way to something I like that or very similar? It's all Silverbreak.
The evidence is sort of seeming to point that way. I don't know what any of that means, but it's
The stone was maybe a blood instrument, and we were maybe more controlled scalpel.
Maybe that's a test. Maybe it was a testing hub and it went south. Maybe was it intended to go south? Was it just a test for that, or were they workshopping it, not thinking it would go bad like that?
Or was it a weapon?
Yeah.
according to what you told me, your friend Wire said, it seems like it was probably intentionally done, but whether it was something that whether that was part of the plan before people like you, or if it was just a result to see if maybe they could do it to an entire population en masse, I couldn't say. I can't speak to their motivations, only what the scans tell me.
Well, whatever the connection is, this sort of tells us that we're on the right track here, right? Peach, that thing you saw, that could have been a real ancient piece of technology, right?
I think it had to be. I mean, the way it felt.
So if there's some similarity between what that caused to the warped and whatever happened to us, then, well, Professor Tenoris might be able to help us continue in the right direction.
I wonder if they had a plan to control the warped.
Or if the warped were not what they were hoping for.
I hope there's
That's why
only
they-
the warped on that one planet.
The implications of this, no matter which potential path you choose, are disturbing, to say the least.
Doctor, I don't know if you have an answer for this, and I don't know if we really want to hear it if you do, but is there a chance that we'll progress or degrade in a direction that turns us into something more like the warped?
I thought about that, and the short answer, I don't know.
Yeah.
The longer answer is that the possibility certainly exists, but without more samples taken over time, I couldn't say. I'd say the best course of action here is to keep monitoring it and see if anything changes. But the best way of monitoring that is each of you, keeping tabs on anything out of the ordinary. And yes, I understand that term has sort of gone out the
Subjective.
window, but anything that just feels off, any signs of any the initial symptoms that some of those who eventually became warped felt were sensations of extreme vertigo. Others talked about hearing voices. In an extreme case, there was there were chronic migraines involved.
I kind of like slowly turn my gaze to Peach.
Being
Yeah.
pointedly does not.
And then I say, not long after we first gathered together on this ship, well, I don't really know exactly what happened, and I kind of looked at Peach like, you were in my dream. There was a warped in my dream.
Yeah.
We felt, out of character. Did we hear it? Was it a sound, or what was the source of the like really strong ominous feeling in that dream?
It just was an oppressive presence.
It was just a feeling, a presence. Okay,
Mhm.
so I describe how that felt to Abriel. If I don't think I've done that before.
I'm fully out of my depth in all of this. I mean,
Right.
it could be something, but who knows what is normal with any of this? I mean, I'm not even sure Silverbreak knows.
All I think you're onto something. I think that meant something.
Well, do you think? And I'm looking between everybody. Like, if you say, Abriel, that the warped heard voices, were those just auditory hallucinations as part of a sickness, or
It could have been. We never got far enough before things got out of hand. Didn't really have much of a chance to study it.
I'm just saying, because whatever was in that dream felt like a presence, but it was just a dream.
Best thing I can say is just monitor yourselves, each other. Keep an eye out. Just make sure you note down anything that is unusual given the circumstances, and and let me know the moment anything changes. It doesn't even have to be related to this. I mean, anything with you changes. It could be indicative of something. So, the more information we have, the better.
Olam, I don't know if anything is just a dream anymore.
Okay.
Sorry.
Reassuring, yes. You're
Ominous, thanks.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
At this moment, there's a
Said it
sudden.
before.
You're cut off as there's a sudden jolt, which all of you would.
Oh, good.
All of you, but Bina first,
Oh, good.
would recognize as dropping out of FTL.
Oh.
There's also.
Bina takes it in stride, like a ooh. Okay,
Yeah, there's
good.
also-
And
Everyone else
everyone's
gets jostled.
There
Yeah,
is
good
also
thing I have this
sudden.
throw pillow.
There's a sudden. You can hear a sort of. As like lights suddenly like power down and flicker and then come back up.
Do I like that?
That's not
that-
normal.
No, it's not normal.
And the more you think about it, the more you're starting to realize that you should have been in FTL for a lot longer than this.
Okay, yeah, Bina's gone. Has left this room.
Yeah.
Mason, I just look around like, oh, okay, okay. That was quick.
The rest of you, I mean, all of you hear this, but Bina's not in the room with the rest of you. As you hear the chirp of your communicators coming on, and as you hear Jade's voicing, guys, I don't know what happened. I swear I didn't touch anything, but we're not in FTL anymore, and I'm making my way down to the engine room right now.
Over the top of this announcement has just been, you heard Bina going, I'm coming. Like, just like quietly, either over the intercom or like echoing down the hallway.
And I think that's where we're gonna take our break. So
Is it break time already?
it is break time.
It's
What
perfect
time
break
is
time
it?
too. This is like exactly,
Mm-hmm.
we're like right on the money.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
So we're gonna go to break, and we will be back in about 10 minutes or so. Don't go anywhere. Everybody, get some water, stretch, take some deep breaths, all of that stuff, and we'll be right back. See you in a bit.
See you soon.
Bye.
And we're back. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hope you had a relaxing previous 10 minutes. We are back from break. Before we get back into the show, I did say, and I delivered, that I was going to create a special scene so I can display the shirt. But we do have an Infinite Horizon shirt, and it is great. I'm going to show it to you
Yeah,
right
we
now as soon
do.
as I remember how to.
Gotta do
I swear,
these.
I'm so off today. All right, here we go. It looks like this. There it is. It's up on screen right now. That is the Infinite Horizon shirt. It's got the
Whoa,
whole.
look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
there it
God.
is.
The joke here is that the cast can't see it.
I
Anyway,
can't.
the
I
point,
helped make it, so I know what it looks like.
yeah. Anyway, you can get that as well as other Rule of Lore merch in the Rule of Lore merch store. Which
Do we have a command
we
for
do.
that? Whoa, check out that snaky
But it's
command.
making me log in on
Oh.
stream, so somebody else can do it.
I got it.
Thank you.
Let's hit it up. This is the merch.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, you can get it
Yay.
at that link that Henry just put in the chat.
I ordered mine already. I'm very excited about it.
I ordered mine too
I
and
also
forgot until
ordered
this
mine.
moment.
I keep forgetting. I need a new T-shirt because all my T-shirts are getting gross. Thank you.
We'll all agree to wear it on the same day, and then I'll show up in the Bean and Grabby Hands shirt.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
One day
Sounds
we will have an
amazing.
official version of the Bina Grabby Hands shirt. One day. And it will probably not be as cool because it'll be like too cool, you know what I mean? Right? It'll like lose.
Oh no, I'll keep it as low quality as possible.
Okay,
don't
cool.
worry.
Perfect. That's yeah.
It's like a shit post of a t-shirt, you know? It's like
That's the joke.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, getting back into tonight's episode, when we left off, there was a bit of a shipboard emergency. Suddenly dropping out of FTL way ahead of schedule, and
Bina's running. Like
weird power fluctuations. So yeah, we'll cut to Bina running as you sort of slide into the engine room.
Alma, what's happening? And she's like
Yeah,
scrambling for diagnostic trays and stuff.
Yeah, Jade is right, like on your heels, as you can hear the running footsteps coming as he comes into the room, and just says, oh, "Okay, I don't know what happened. I was okay.
Okay,
where do you want me?
We got figured out.
Okay, I'll go check power stuff. I guess I don't know.
Okay, I'm just running through diagnostics right now
Okay.
to see if anything will ping while she starts like looking over things for physical like damage.
Okay,
While it loads.
sure. You start running the diagnostic, but before you don't get very far into it before Jade says, "Oh, I think I found the problem."
Okay. And what?
You kind
I
of
go over immediately.
Yeah, you kind of circling the engine to where Jade is standing. You can see as he's standing right now in front of the bank of power couplings. As he just
The
sort
extra ones?
of these would be just like
The regular
yeah.
ones.
As he points.
Oh, the ones we just put in?
Mm-hmm. He points and he says,
Ah.
well, they're all dead. I mean, it's not that big a deal. We can charge them, but it'll take a while. But
Do we have the old ones?
I might have gotten rid of them.
That's okay. That's good practice.
Yeah.
It's just really inconvenient.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He says, I don't understand. I checked these all. I mean, I put them all in today. I ran the diagnostic. Everything was fine.
I know. I don't.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess maybe I got too excited and just put them in, and maybe.
No, it's okay. I trust your abilities. Has Alma responded at all to me yelling running down the hall?
No, and not yet.
Okay. Wait a second. Alma, if you're good, if you're okay, are you okay? That should be priority number 1. Are you okay? Number 2, any insight at all? I'm gonna start prepping what we have to do to recharge these guys.
As you're saying this, Jade is already kind of currently disconnecting the power couplings, and as he says, as he removes the first one, he looks behind and says, "Oh, okay, it looks like we're gonna have to pull all of them." He says,
Ugh.
"This is gonna take a long time." And
She's gonna everybody report to engineering. I need hands. I know I have 4 of them. More would help.
Alma is now
Roger that.
it materializes as you're finishing up, as she says, "There's major power fluctuations. Most of them." She kind of glances past you. She says, "Well, I see you've already figured out the rest."
Were there any anything happening suddenly before it, or is it just mundane?
I'm still running through the incident reports, but
Okay. Sorry. No rush. We'll get there. It's fine. Bina is like anyone who sees her is like she's like not freaking out, but she's so frustrated. Like it's fine, but I hate it. Like I hate that my ship isn't in working order.
She says, if you're planning on doing a full pulling them out and just doing a full restart, I'm gonna have to go and turn off most of the essential systems or the unessential systems.
Okay.
She dematerializes again.
Okay.
And Jade is like kind of currently backing out of he's removed the panel from one of the bulkheads and is like kind of crawling back out of it. He says, "Okay, I loosened all of them. Now we should just be able to pull them."
Okay.
Right about
Everyone's coming. We can get more hands. We can get this as fast as possible.
Mason was not directly behind. You moved so quickly that he looked 1 minute you were there and then another you weren't. So he is making his way toward. I think I probably entered this point.
Yeah.
You guys enter to Bina taking a moment. She's got all 4 hands on her head and she's like, okay.
Oh,
And then
boy.
she's gonna get ready, and as you guys come in, she's gonna start orchestrating removal of power couplings to get this out as fast as possible so we can start moving. She does not want to be dead right now.
Yeah.
Don't want to be dead in the water.
Jade is sort of looking at this stuff. He says, and as you're all, like, you kind of set up an assembly line and start handing them to each other. As you do, Jade is like plugging them in basically, and getting them charged.
Immediately after we got jolted out of, what do we call it here?
What, FTL?
FTL.
FTL, yeah.
I would have liked to have run to the bridge and like you done like or not just normal space, like just scan the area for any anomalies outside the ship, like close
Keep
to
an
us?
eye on the outside.
Yeah.
See where the heck we are when we dropped out of FTL.
Sure. Right now, you are just sort of in empty space. Nothing immediately around you. Yeah, there's nothing nothing of note whatsoever.
Okay, I set up a macro sequence for a periodic deep scan and have the results pinged to my wrist
Nice.
Okay.
communicator. And then
As you're
answer the call.
as you're doing this, like this would be right about the time as you're finishing up is right about the time Alma would show up at the in the bridge. Which would basically the way that plays out is Olam setting up the scan and then looking up and Alma's just there. She's like sitting in the pilot seat at the moment. She glances over her shoulder, says, "Hi, doing." She says, "I'm." She says, "Sorry to have wasted your time, but I'm gonna need to shut everything down."
Oh, damn it! That bad, huh?
It's nothing major, but it'll just be a process to fix.
Does almost seem normal right now? Is there any out of character? Her voice sounds like a little bit weary and hurt to me. Is that something might notice?
Yeah, you definitely would.
Have I heard her like this before?
Unlikely, but she doesn't hang around a lot.
I say, are you all right? Are you you stick around when the non-essential system shut down, right?
I assume so. Yes. I mean, yes, I do. I'm fine. Just a bit tired. This is a drain on everything, apparently. So, I don't know. Something shorted those couplings, and I'm just feeling a little bit of it.
All right. Well, let me know if I can help you at all. Manual shutdown to make it easier on you or anything.
It's fine. I'll make sure to turn that off last.
All right. Okay. I try to like get like one more scan out or whatever before it has to shut down.
As you're exiting from the cockpit, you hear Olam, and you turn. There's a distinct change in Alma's voice as she says that. As you turn, total change in tone. She sort of just says, "Olam, have you looked at the communications logs?"
No. I'm like running back over to the array. Like, I was just doing an external scan.
As you come back to the seat, she's already pulled it up on your display. As you look at the communications logs, you can see there is there within the last half an hour, there has been a transmission from the ship. Looks like a data packet of some sort. She says, as you're looking it over, she says, "You see it?"
Yeah. Can I see what the contents are or anything and where it was going?
As you pull it up, you can't quite determine what the contents of it were, as it looks like a lot of most of the log has actually been scrubbed.
Like somebody willfully did that on this side?
Most likely.
From the ship?
With time, it's possible that you could recreate some of that. But as you're looking at it, you one piece of information that is still present is a destination, or at least a partial one. And it looks like, Olam, as you're looking at it, you feel yourself go cold. And Alma, a moment later, confirms. She says, "That's a Silverbreak relay."
Oh, no.
Olam, somebody on this ship sent a transmission to Silverbreak.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it? Shit. Let me see. Can you keep the communication hub running long enough for me to try to
yes.
fix this up? See what this message was?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
And we'll cut back to the engine room as you all are just sort of...
Just once I would have definitely Peach would have definitely noticing that we have a bunch of uncontrolled people on this ship who we might not know. I want to check in and see what Patch is doing and what Sedona is doing at this moment.
Okay.
Where they are, what they're doing.
Did you pull up feeds, like video feeds from like a terminal?
Yeah. What the easiest way to find out where they are or what they're doing?
You can do that from the observation room table. You can pull up the feeds from there, so you wouldn't even have to go anywhere to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you pull up the feeds. At the moment, here's the thing. Right now, about half of the security feeds are down.
Okay.
However, you do actually find Patch in one of them. Patch is currently in the galley, seemingly not sitting or anything like that, seemingly having just walked in as you're like, basically it happens in like rapid succession. Like you pull up the displays, you realize half of them are down, and as you glance over to the galley, you see Patch walking into frame.
Okay.
You're not sure about Sedona. The feed for the crew quarters is one of the ones that's down.
Okay. Bina, do you need me in the bridge? Do you need another hand?
Who do we have currently? Is Mason down here? Okay, that's probably enough extra hands. As long as we got one person here helping, as long as we can speed it up. Yeah.
More than that, it probably would just get too crowded in the engine room. So yeah.
Okay.
Do what you gotta do. Check in later. I'll let you know if we need you.
Okay. Stay safe. And I'm gonna go ahead and head over to where Jade and Sedona are, just under the pretense of making sure that they're okay with what's going on.
Jade is in engineering with me, right?
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna go to where Sedona is.
Okay.
I thought Jade and Sedona were together, but
yeah, you make your way down the lift to kind of the right the level the deck where crew quarters are. You make your way in that direction. As you step inside, you're sort of looking around. You don't see anyone immediately in the kind of common area of the crew quarters. Kind of dipping into the side where you have your space. You kind of look through. She's not in any of those. And kind of going across to the other side, you start looking through some of those. And then the very last one, the one kind of in the corner, the furthest away from the door, you peek inside and you see her just sort of sitting. And as soon as the door opens, she starts and kind of curls it, like pulls it into the corner and just looks up at you.
Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to barge in. I just wanted to come in and make sure you were okay. We kind of had a rough switch in speed there.
Where's Jade?
Oh, he's just with Bina in the engine room. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, so he's a really good engineer.
Okay.
Are you okay in here?
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind if I sit down? I think I'm in the way out there.
She just nods.
Okay. I'm just gonna sit and kind of like chill with her for a little bit, just to one, keep her company because she seems freaked out, and two, just to keep an eye on her.
Yeah. She doesn't.
Because like it's odd that obviously I know this happened. I don't know if this happened exactly the same way, in the timeline, but she woke up and then we changed out of FTL. So
yeah, she doesn't ever fully relax. She gets she certainly calms down a little bit and becomes a little bit less fight or flight, but she never fully relaxes. She just sort of at no point does she, unlike before where she was like meeting nobody's eyes, now she just won't stop looking. She won't stop she does not take her eyes off of you the whole time that you're in there.
Yeah. I feel like we have some very intense looks because I think that Peach also makes a lot of eye contact. So
yeah,
the good speaker is like good at making eye contact.
Yeah, we're like, oh,
yeah.
I think
Are you sit in silence with her, or do you try to talk to her?
I think that like I would definitely try to talk to her. Like I feel like I would kind of start conversations, but I don't know if she would really
Yeah.
She.
She is
Still air.
not particularly one to reciprocate your efforts at conversation. You do feel like that, like you're just sort of speaking does over time probably have an effect on calming her down a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping.
Yeah, she never fully relaxes, but she's
Does she seem like just tense or like very scared and flighty, like very like a nervous animal kind of vibe, or more like
yeah, she's much more tense, I would say. Like
okay.
this is
That's my secret, Peach. I'm always anxious.
yeah, she seems very tense.
Yeah.
If you want to make you can make a roll if you want, or you can spend for insight.
It's our first roll of the game.
I know. I was like, I will do any. We haven't had any rolls yet, so I'm happy.
Okay.
To, wait. So if I were to spend, what would that just be?
I believe it's a 3 intellect spend for insight, where I answer a question.
Okay. Yeah. I'll.
It's eaten by Edge, right?
Yeah, it would be eaten by Edge, right? So it would only be 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do that. I took that increased capabilities. I'm good.
Okay. So what do you want to know?
Depending on what happens next.
Yeah.
I want to know if she looks like surprised.
Okay.
Like, does she
the genuine disposition? Like
yeah, like her genuine disposition. Like, is she? I mean, she obviously seems very terrified in general of the new situation, but. Like, I want to know if she seems like she's, her general disposition, if she's surprised or just afraid.
Get a read.
Here's what you gather. When you first enter the room, it's sort of a fear kind of fight or flight response at you entering and not being Jade. And then over time, as she calms down to a sort of a general tension, what you are gathering is that this is sort of a natural state for a person like this. This is somebody who's had a lot of time surviving on their own. This is somebody who developed keen instincts for the purposes of survival. Somebody who right now her demeanor is that of somebody who is watching every move everybody makes.
Like hyper-vigilant.
Yeah. Because it's sort of, for her, it is a life or death kind of thing. Being aware of somebody's next move is a life or death thing.
Okay. So I don't know, we might be having some technical difficulties for a little while. Do you want to play a game?
She doesn't respond, but yeah, she doesn't respond to you. She's still just sort of watching you.
Okay, I'm gonna project. I don't know if I'm thinking of back when you had like phones that had stupid games on them. I'm thinking of like projecting up one of them from my like little comms to up like
pull up.
I don't know, like a tic-tac-toe or a
We're gonna play Candy Crush on the hologram.
We're gonna play Space Minesweeper.
Space Minesweeper.
Yeah, I just want to take her mind off it, and I don't want to do any scary power stuff that might freak her out. So
Sure. So yeah, you pull that up and just immediately just sort of start doing it. Most of it is you sort of doing it, as she seems reluctant to come close. But from what you can sense, it sort of seems like she might. It's a very subtle change, but maybe a little bit more relaxed. But it's very, very subtle.
Okay.
But yeah, we will go ahead and cut back to the engine room.
Back to the important stuff.
I didn't say that.
Just Bina screaming internally.
Yeah. We'll cut to the engine room as Mason hands the last of the power couplings to Jade, who takes it and says, and plugs it in and says, "Okay, that's the last of them."
Okay, question for the DM.
Mm-hmm.
Can I jury rig something that will help charge these faster?
You can.
Can I make a check, try to build something real quick that will start charging them normally, but while I work on that, while that's happening, I want to try to make something,
Yeah.
an adaption or whatever, so that I can help them charge faster.
So you can probably try to do something like that, but there's a very real possibility that will in the long term cause you more problems than it will solve. But you can do it. It can be done.
Can I do like a risk analysis on that? Like,
Sure.
if we're boned here, like in this water, if we don't get out of here, I mean, maybe out loud, she'll just talk with the party as well. Like likelihood, okay, I can do this. I could I can most likely make something that'll make these charge a little bit faster or a lot faster. I don't know. But it could be bad later. However, we would be bad for us forever if we get caught while we're sitting ducks. So we can always get more power couplings. Can't always get new all of this. Should I go for it? I think I should go for it. What do you guys think? Maybe?
It's crazy because you were saying one thing and then you were saying what I was thinking, but all very quickly. But I did keep up, I think. The thing I was thinking is like the risk of staying here could be a real risk, right?
Yeah.
We could be sitting ducks here.
I don't even know where we are. I think Golem went to go check.
Well, yeah, but we don't know that. He hasn't said anything, so I think we should jump. We should get a jump and get out of here. That's what I think.
Okay, plug that in over there. The big green one. Start doing that. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. Same thing for all of them, and then I'm gonna go start trying to put something together that will charge these faster.
Okay. So I'm gonna have you just make it's gonna be an intellect roll, and the difficulty on that is going to be 5.
Cool. Are there any tools or anything in this in the engine room or anything like that could give me an asset, like a tool or a program or anything in here?
I would say so.
Okay, cool. I have this thing called tool mastery, which means when I have an asset from using any type of tool, the time required to perform the task is halved.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to be very fast at this if I can do it. So 5 down to 4. Where did my mouse go? I need to be able to see all of my abilities here. Can I get an asset or any assistance from if Jade is helping me?
Yeah, I will say so.
Okay. Mechanic.
Mason helps by standing out of the way.
You plugged in all the other ones for us while we were doing this.
Fair enough.
Anything to do with sight?
Nope.
No, okay. Then I'm going to spend for that last one to get it down to 1.
Okay. So it's a 3 or better?
Yes.
Okay.
6.
Okay.
Did it.
All right. Sounds good.
It is extremely fast. Does that at all bleed into the charging of things? Probably not.
Wait, what do you mean?
The time required to perform the task I'm trying to do is halved.
Nope. So to put this thing together in total, it probably takes about. It'd probably take you about an hour.
Halved to a half hour,
no.
or hour is halved?
The hour is halved.
Okay.
Actually,
well,
it's probably closer.
nothing.
It's probably closer to like 45 minutes or so.
Okay.
As you're
better than nothing.
Yeah, as you're sitting there, and as you finally.
I want them currently charging.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, charging these things takes a long time. Like,
yes.
You're looking at probably like 5 hours or so.
Yes.
Maybe even more than that.
It's fine.
But
bucking up my couplings to get us out of here faster.
Yeah. So what as you're finishing up your project,
she's got her goggles on. She's like.
Yeah. What it looks like to you is, best you can tell, which is, it looks like you've probably significantly shaved a bunch of time off of this. You've probably shaved it down to maybe about 2 hours in total of charging. It's is it safe? Probably not, but it'll do it. It'll do the job. Jade sort of sets down the tool that he was holding. He just brings his goggles up. He says, "Well, I mean, I don't think there's probably not a faster way of doing it, so I think it'll work."
It's as fast as we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just
We
grabs.
start installing it.
Yeah, he grabs a cable and hands it to Mason. He says, "Here, that one goes right up there. No, not that one. That one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, this one?
Yeah, that one."
Okay.
And-
Do either of you know how this occurred?
I haven't figured it out yet. Alma hasn't gotten back to us. Maybe perhaps in the past 45 minutes about. She said she was gonna check system logs.
Yeah, I would say in that time that you're working on that, Olam, what was as far as informing other people?
I don't tell anybody.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good call.
But I also don't tell Alma what to do. I'll
Okay.
let her
Yeah.
decide what she
Alma
wants
seems to
do
be,
first.
as the two of you are in the cockpit, she seems to be taking her lead from you. So, as far as you can tell, hasn't said anything to anybody either.
Right.
The three of you in the engine room are installing stuff, Jade just sort of says, I keep thinking that says, I know you said you trust me and everything, but I think this might be my fault. I mean I was in charge of installing them, and I did get them at a lower price, so I don't know, maybe I thought I checked them over, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. I don't know, they could have been old.
I mean, shit happens. It's just an inconvenient time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll maybe keep old pieces for a little while longer now next time with a
Yeah.
little bit of nervous energy to back that thought up. It's not great for storage, but
Yeah.
this is not fun, so it's fine.
Mhm.
This is weird. They look new though, right? I wouldn't know. I've never seen much of the inside of ships.
Yeah,
Sorry,
what's my
They
as a professional mechanic? What's my outlook on
They
these?
certainly do look new, but it's not unheard of for less legitimate like parts dealers to fix, sort of touch up the outsides, the housing for parts and resell them as new. It's not unheard
Okay.
of.
Can I, once we've done the part that that required my full attention, can I just sit with one of them and give it a deep inspection
Sure.
to see if I can notice anything with a more up close and personal?
Yeah, we'll say you can sort of sit and start kind of looking one of them over. We're gonna go ahead and cut back to the bridge as you're doing that. Olam, as you and Alma are just sort of sitting in there working. Alma just mostly just sort of monitoring as you're working on whatever you're working on. Alma is sort of monitoring the scan that you set up. So what are you doing, Olam?
I'm trying to reconstruct the contents of that message that got sent as quick as I can.
Okay. Go ahead. This will be an intellect task. The difficulty on this will be 5.
All right.
Actually, no. Sorry. No, the difficulty on this would be 6.
All right. I'm skilled with computers. Would that help me?
Yes, absolutely.
And then, sorry, just a moment.
So, are you trained or specialized?
Trained.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad. And then let me check what this intelligence power shift is. Knowledge, science, or crafting? Would you call this?
Yeah,
Knowledge,
I think
maybe
it
science.
probably. Yeah, I'd say that would count.
Okay, so 2 power shifts, woo, and trained in that skill drops it down. Oh, still it's a difficulty 3,
Mhm.
huh?
Yep.
Shit. Yikes. Okay, I'm gonna spend 2 levels of effort, which is as much as I can spend,
Okay.
and that'll cost me. It would be 5, but I have an edge of 2, so that costs me 3 for my intellect pool. And it's at a difficulty of 1 now, I think, so I still have to roll.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here goes.
Good luck. First roll of the night.
10.
Okay. That sounds good. So I'll tell you what. In basically the way this is gonna play out is that you successfully like set up a reconstruction program, that is currently piecing the data together. As you sort of sit back and Alma sort of looking over your shoulder says, "It's pretty good work."
Oh yeah. Well, you know, sometimes if you overload yourself with classes, you realize that it's quicker if you automate a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, so what exactly is your... She suddenly stops and looks directly over at the display. She says, "Oh, that's not good. Olam, we have ships jumping in
Oh,
just on the edge of our scans."
shit.
She says,
How far is the edge of our scans?
I try to run over and identify what the ships are.
yeah, you pull them up, and as you're just starting to see the blips coming up on the sensors, you almost as if by fearing it, you will it in, and it's like you willed it into being. You watch as the sensor pings back with Silverbreak transponders.
Oh, for this, I activate like a ship-wide message, and I say, "Oh, we got Silverbreak ships incoming. Edge of the scan."
Shit, fuck, god dang. Okay, and Vina's just like cursing like nonstop for the next probably 30 to 40 seconds.
I want
into a power coupling, like.
I like look at the displays of the scan, and also I make sure I turn off the display that's doing the message reconstruction, but still have that program running.
Sorry, say that again.
So the like algorithm or whatever that's reconstructing the lost message that got sent out within the half hour, I want to close that display so somebody coming in here wouldn't casually see it.
Yeah, you can have it running in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I want to sprint to my quarters and make sure I have my phase disruptor like in my pocket.
Okay.
And then come back to the bridge.
Okay. In your... So basically this is how this plays out. You go into your quarters, and Peach, as you're like in the middle of like sort of keeping Sidonia calm, you hear a clattering, like you hear running footsteps and then a kind of like a clattering, and like you can hear Olam's voice as he's kind of cursing under his breath.
Hey, Olam. Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up? I got your message.
I like glance. I'm like, I other than that, I don't know. They have Silverbreak signatures for sure. How many?
How did they? Do you know how they found us?
I say, no, I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't smile after it.
So don't just stay here and relax and help yourself to whatever on the ship. Yeah. Olam, what do you need? Do you need help?
I say, I find my little phase
Yeah,
disruptor?
you do.
Okay, I'm like, no, I'm going back to the bridge to monitor everything. We just be ready for anything. Shit.
Always.
All right.
Away.
So, cutting back to engine room, as soon as you hear Olam's message, there's a beat as like Jade and Bina, you just sort of look at each other. As Bina, you like frozen holding one of these power couplings, and you just sort of look. And Jade goes, "We got to put him back right now."
Okay. As we're doing this, one arm up, 3 arms working as we're doing stuff. Alma, can we run quiet right now? Is that possible? Is there anything we can do to be quieter right now?
She says, right now
do they know can they see us?
I've engaged silent running mode. I don't know. I don't even know why they're here, but I've engaged silent running mode.
They want the ship, at least, the very least.
The communication cuts out.
Have they?
That's why I don't want them to find the ship. I don't want them on her. I don't want her on their radar.
Are we charged enough to give us a little boost out of here?
Jade sort of looks at the display and he says, "It's not much, but it's enough for a small jump."
Might
Just to get out of here.
That might be what we need.
Yeah, Jade's
Okay,
already like
we're
unplugging
going, yeah.
everything and just like
Mhm.
starting to like hand them back the way that they can, starting to set them back up. Yeah, so as the three of you work quickly to like reconnect the only partially charged power couplings, Olam,
Once it's done, I'm running to the bridge. Like,
yeah, Olam and Peach, are you both going back to the bridge or just Olam?
I am.
Yeah, I want to go back to where things are happening.
Okay.
I'm very nervous.
Yeah. When you get back to the bridge, by the way, it's not just Alma in there, but Abriel's in there too. As Abriel's just sort of standing looking over the display, she glances up, she says, "So this is not good."
Is it possible they've been? I know Wire said that it wasn't possible, but is it possible they were interfering with our communications? Is that how they found us?
I don't know. She glances at Alma, who says, "It's incredibly unlikely. I as soon as that tech was installed in the ship, I ran every scan I could think of on it, and it's sound. Whatever Wire rigged up, it's sound."
Okay, well.
are we all there, or is this happening before we get
This is
there?
before
the
you
rest
get
of
there.
us. Okay, that's what
Well,
I
this
thought.
is
We're
a,
still reinstalling downstairs.
yeah, but Mason's also trying to put things together,
yeah,
and me Freeman's trying to figure out what Mason
Cool.
knows
Okay.
that would be like. Could he potentially put some pieces together? Not all, but some.
Possibly, but we'll
Or-
hold on to that.
Got it.
Hold on
Got
to
it.
that.
I am. I'm
Um,
holding.
But yeah, as you're working, Abriel says, well, where do you want me?"
She's in the bridge now.
Yeah.
In the engine room.
Bridge.
Okay. God. Who does she look to anybody in particular when she says that?
No, she's kind of, well, she looks at Peach.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, I think just stand by in case there are any injuries, but I don't know if there's much we can do besides support the technical people as best as possible.
Yeah.
I think about it this time, you'll get a message from Bina being like, "We have juice for maybe one jump. I don't know. We'll be up as soon as everything's ready." And then cuts out.
Maybe strap yourself down.
Yeah. Where?
Abriel, look. How does Abriel seem about all this?
Pretty tense.
I know she's kind of hard to get a read on.
Yeah, no,
but-
she's pretty tense right now and seems at least as worried as any of you. But Abriel is also very much somebody who is good in a crisis. So she's not exactly panicking or anything like that. It's more just
Yeah.
sort of what you can read on her face is pretty much just, and body language is mostly just sort of the same kind of concern any of you are feeling at the moment. But yeah. She says, "Yeah, where would you all be if your medic was the one who was injured?" She says, "I'll go strap in the med bay and make sure that I'm there for what will most likely be some injuries." And she just sort of makes her way out of the
I don't know
bridge.
what we'd do without you, Abriel.
She like pauses at the doorway and glances back at you, looks like she's about to reply, and then just sort of and just keeps walking down the hallway.
I imagine she's the type of person who says "shut the fuck up" to compliments. So like,
It's not unlikely.
Both a compliment and also just a very true statement.
yes.
Yeah. So I'll say it probably takes maybe about another like 5 minutes or so before you are finished installing the couplings. By which point, Alma is up in the cockpit as you were arriving. Jade's staying
Full tilt.
Yeah, Jade's
Right.
staying behind to sort of
Yeah,
like
keep an eye.
on things. Alma's just sort of sitting in a very, very like human like mannerism, just sort of kind of nervously has her fingers up to her mouth as she's watching the displays. She says,
Bina comes running in like full high energy, like panic crisis, whatever. She runs in, kind of like gets into the seat, and I think when she sits down, and I'm assuming is Alma in the co-pilot seat
"No,
next to her? No. Oh, where is she?
she would have been in the pilot seat."
Oh, she was in. Then I will go sit in the co-pilot seat. And she'll come in and like kind of is like high energy, and then as soon as she kind of like clocks Alma,
Mhm.
it like she goes like totally somber for a second. And she doesn't touch or grab her or anything, but she kind of like puts her hands on the seat and like the most serious you've probably ever seen, Bina. She goes, "Oh, we're not gonna let them get you, okay?"
She just kind of nods to you. It glances back at the display and just says, "They're scanning the immediate area, but they've been doing that for the past few minutes."
She kind of like rocks the seat a little bit. Says, "Alma, I'm not gonna let them take you."
I heard you. She's just looking down at the scanner and she's
Bina will just kind of like stare at her for a second, like, and then and then she'll turn back and start looking at the ship and make doing readings from up here to make sure that everything is all connected and that we could go right now if we had to.
Yeah. So as Alma continues to look at the scan, she starts shaking her head. She says, "I don't understand. That's not a standard sensor sweep pattern that they're running. That
What are they doing?
I'd almost say that they're coming directly towards us with their scans, but they have no way of knowing where we are. We're on silent running mode. There's no reason that, and they clearly don't already know that we're where we are, because otherwise they would have come directly towards us. They're still scanning, but not in a standard pattern."
Is it a show? What are they faking it?
No, it's like they're following a trail, but we haven't left one.
And they're coming. Are they coming at us from the way we were heading, or are they coming from a different direction?
No, from the way that you came.
Oh, they are behind us. Okay.
Mason, I would say that you right now would note something that at least as while you've been here, nobody has mentioned. But before you left, being one of the people who was on the bridge at the time when you left the station, you would have been in a perfect position to note some features. And what you can tell right now is that these transponders that are pinging your sensors right now, the Silverbreak ships, they're the exact same ones that arrived at the station.
I mentioned that for sure.
They followed us from Doc
But how?
in FTL.
They'd have. What if we were stealthy? How?
We've been running quiet the whole time, right?
Alma nods.
Yeah.
She says, I always put us on silent running mode anytime we go in or out of
Then
a
how-
system.
Well, if there's nothing wrong with the tech, if Wire scrubbed everything, there's no interference with comms, then
We haven't even used comms.
I'm trying to look at watch the progress of the thing this whole time without anybody seeing exactly what it is.
Oh, buddy. You're in trouble.
Okay.
I love this. I'm so excited.
I know that there is a way of doing a pose rolling in Cypher, but we're not going to bother with that right now because I do not remember it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have Mason make basically a perception check. This is going to be an intellect test.
How like subtle is Olam being though? Like I feel like
That's what we'll
Olam
find out.
isn't- Okay.
In
I
fairness,
was like, I feel like
everybody's
okay.
kind of focused, in fairness here.
Yeah.
People are sort of focused, and
it's
Olam is
panic
doing
mode.
something.
I'm at my station hunched over looking at a display.
Yeah.
Here, let me explain to you the lead up though a little
Okay.
bit to why I'm even suspicious, right? And I don't know if I can use this, but Mason feels like it's a little convenient that certain things in the ship made us still, and now they're coming right towards us.
Like an
So
ambush, yeah.
Mason's thinking, and so he's kind of looking at everybody at this point,
Right.
like that's why he went to the anyway. So yeah,
So
okay.
this will be an intellect roll, the difficulty of which will be 4.
Okay. I am trained in from the guarded thing. I am trained in discerning, not subterfuge, but
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. So yeah, that's absolutely going to count here.
and piercing disguise or recognizing falsehoods.
Right.
Falsehood is that I'm not doing anything unusual.
The falsehood in this case is you trying to be sneaky about it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys, I want to like scream right now. I'm so stressed out.
The calls coming from inside the house. I've been thinking that for the past half hour.
Okay, and I'm gonna sink some intellect into this too.
Okay. So spending a level of effort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not all of it, because I want to be able to roll at least.
Right. So that'll
So I'm
drop
gonna
you
spend
down to difficulty 1, I think, right? Or
Because I have
No.
Yeah. No. If I did 2, right?
yeah, you're
Wait,
right.
what
So-
are you saying?
yeah, you're right. You're right. So right now, with 1 level of effort, you're at difficulty 2.
Okay. Oh no, I'll take it. I'll roll with 2.
Okay, 6 or better.
I'll roll now. I'll roll now, and I'm gonna roll with my new dice. My new dice.
Ooh, Cypher dead.
That's right. Here goes. First time ever rolled
Ooh.
Woo, yeah, break him in. With a nat 20.
with a nat 2,
Oh no!
Just
Oh,
a 0 short.
but I'm going to use my XP.
Okay. You're gonna re-roll it.
Yep.
All
and
right.
I only have 1 XP left.
Oh,
All right.
it's a very important role for Mason.
11.
Okay. So you sort of are starting to like look around the room at everybody, and you catch Olam as he's like looking.
Does not look good,
He's
but
looking towards where everybody else is sort of talking, and then looks back at his screen, glances back over, pulls up something else that you can see basically like a process happening on the screen. As he kind of glances up again and just still kind of keeping an eye on everybody, and you're sort of standing there just sort of looking over. That's what you notice.
Olam,
Yeah.
what you doing there?
Just running some diagnostics.
Mm-hmm.
Just checking the communication logs. Somebody just mentioned, has there been anything, any outgoing?
Come on.
Has there been any outgoing communications?
What's going on?
What?
What are you doing over there?
I like look around. Who's in the room right now?
It's all of you, I
Everyone?
believe, and Alma.
Okay. Somebody sent a message to Silverbreak in the last hour or so.
By this
And it's
this
been-
point, it's probably closer to 2.
Right, in the last 2 hours, not long before we dropped out. It's
Bina,
been
who has been
scrubbed.
completely invested in like what she's been doing, she was not paying attention until she heard that, and she was like, "Why? God,
Now, Mason
can
is
nothing be easy today?" And then Bina's just gonna have a little bit of a conniption and put her head down on the console, and then like roll her head to look, and then be like, "Continue, please." Like,
Mason's gonna have his eyes
A
darting around now.
message.
Yeah. How does Peach react?
I mean, Peach is very interested. She's listening very intently.
Alma speaks up at that point, and she says, "We saw it at the same time. It's Olam and I saw it at the same time. Some sort of data package or something was sent as in a transmission.
I'm trying
the
to
bridge?
reconstruct it, but it's not taking long. It's not going quick.
There's a mole on the ship.
To Bina's point, can I tell if it was sent from the bridge or
Um,
multiple?
Yeah, can we tell where it was sent from in the ship?
that would be really difficult to pin down.
I think I've been unable to do that in the past. I think.
That would be pretty difficult to pin down. It's not.
Yeah.
It's doable, but it would be really really hard.
We don't
could
like
just
name all
see-
the computers like different
Nope.
you know.
Yeah,
No.
we could just see that a transpondence was
Yeah.
happening from a console on the
Yeah.
bridge. That's what we
It
could
was
see.
sent from a laptop called
Say-
Sedona the Traders.
We've detected a new login from your device.
Yeah,
iPhone
no-
in
no
Minneapolis,
security
Minnesota.
password.
Yeah, no, unfortunately.
Was this you?
Uh,
No. Okay.
And what we do know is that we definitely need to get out of here quickly.
Yeah, while this has
sure.
been happening,
Yeah.
I've been trying to find a spot off of where, like, away from where we're going. I want to find a system where we can, like, hide behind something, get, like, in an asteroid field. Like,
Yeah.
but, like, if our path was, like, this way, I wanted, like, we got to here, I want to jump in a random direction that's
Sure.
not the direction we were heading before.
Yeah.
That's what I want to try to plan out right now.
and
Go as soon as we have the power and are laid in a course to do so.
Yeah, and Alma kind of confirming this as you're working. She kind of looking over your shoulder. She says, "Good thinking. we
Will that
don't
work? Okay.
we don't want to reach our destination with this, not until we figure out how they're following us.
Also, the couplings are kind of boned still. We need a quiet place to recharge, and even then, we're gonna need new ones. But these will be okay for now. They need to be at full power, and they're not. We got room for one jump.
Alma just says, there. She like points as you're like scrolling through. She's there, and you pick out like what appears to be just sort of a. It's basically just a. There's a sort of like small nebula nearby, like nebula cloud that was easy enough to hide in.
We'll be safe in it. The
It should
makeup will be okay for a hold.
Yeah, it might be pushing it if you're in there for too long, but it's the
For now.
safety threshold. It like exceeds what you need to charge. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be hard on your shields, but it'll be okay. Like they should hold out long enough to charge your.
Get us out. Okay. Cool. How long until we can do that jump?
You could do it right now.
Are we good? You good to go? I direct that at Alma, but then kind of directed at everyone else.
Alma,
Can we-
in answer, Alma just dematerializes from the pilot's seat.
I'll hold on to something.
Okay.
Sit down.
Yeah, I will. As I'm forearms going, intercom, buckle up, and then
As we're
she'll-
getting ready, sorry to interrupt, but I want to like turn really quick to Mason and be like, "Can you see where everybody is on cameras, on security cams?"
Can I?
You can pull up the feeds. You see
That would
pretty
be-
much
yeah.
you see pretty much what Peach saw, which is that a lot of them are down, and I will say that it's not. It's likely that it's connected to your power issues that you're having. It's likely that it's connected to that.
Convenient. Can we? Is there a way to disable? I don't know if there's a way to disable any kind of communications going out, but if we could somehow like turn off Wi-Fi, no signals out.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of
No, you
thing.
can absolutely do that.
dampen everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
For
Yeah.
sure, from the bridge, probably.
Yeah. And
As soon as Bina gives the buckle in, she goes to like engage or whatever, and then you see her stop for a second and go 1, 2, 3, and then she goes where she's trying to actively be mindful about giving people time to
Yeah.
respond to her.
and there's that jolt once again, as you find
Familiar jolt.
Yep. As you find yourselves propelled once again through FTL, leaving behind the Silverbreak vessels.
I'm immediately going back to the engine room.
Okay. Yeah.
I know Jade's down there, but we're gonna. How long will this jump take? Do we think it wasn't? We couldn't go very far.
Not
probably.
very far. The jump itself could probably last for maybe an hour.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I will not be quite so intense about it.
Okay.
I say, listen, we shouldn't tell anybody about that outgoing communication. I didn't tell any of you because I don't know who it was, and I still don't know. So
I agree. I don't think we should tell anybody outside of this room.
Bina immediately that had not crossed her mind, and immediately wants to read on everyone in here. Will you please tell me your emotional state?
Surface emotions. That's what.
Surface
yeah.
emotion. I don't get any inner intention of what you're just immediate, off the top. What does she get from you?
Olam is like probably more like heart pumpingly in like fight or flight mode. Well, maybe not than ever before, but like very much on edge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which Bina will conclude is not actually that uncommon for him. So
Right. He's just
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
Imagine if you will. Oh no, you go.
Oh, no, you had a strong start. Go.
Imagine if you will a corkboard with strings attaching to all sorts of points of consciousness and thought and ideas and theories.
I'm imagining.
And that's kind of basically Mason is trying to piece things together.
Yeah,
and
this
it
is
kinda
Churning.
this is
There's
not-
churning. Yeah.
This is not unusual. Bina has felt this from Mason before, like back on the colony.
It's a baseline. It's one of those things.
Yeah, back on the colony, like Mason's state, like you could feel that he was basically like a switch flipped and suddenly he's in like thinking. He's thinking, and like most of his emotions like pretty much just sort of like pushed back to the back of his mind.
Mhm.
It's yeah.
He's working, and that's what I get.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Peach is immediately a little like you could feel suspicion flaring up in her. Like she's very suspicious, or not suspicious like herself, but she's suspicious of like every single person on the ship. Yeah, like she is very like hyper analytical, like looking at everyone's body language, like looking at like just totally not like really in a personal way, but just very like on edge. But,
delightful. I love it. Okay.
So, Bina, are you currently going off to the engine room, or are you still staying here?
She was gonna hang out since it wasn't an immediate thing. She's gonna hang out for a few minutes, maybe, just to kind of like see what everyone's chatting about, and then she's gonna head down because I think it's gonna she's gonna have ants in her pants about getting back and making sure the couplings are holding up for this whole jump.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm gonna turn to Mason at this point. Do you think after we're out of this, the best thing to do would just be to get everyone in a room, ask them a lot of questions? I don't know how how you get answers, but that's what I imagine.
Well, actually, the way would be you do it is one at a time. Separate everyone and talk to them individually. But I mean, I'm not going to put that forth. I don't want to. I always revert back to my old habits of investigation, and that doesn't always sit well with, folks. It's not like, not torture or anything, just investigation skills that they teach you, You're not supposed to be friends with the person you're questioning when it comes to situations where it's life-threatening,
Well, and I don't want to make every person on the ship immediately afraid of every other person on this ship, but we need to have some conversations with folks. And
here's what I do know, though. I know that when I saw Patch kind of fiddling with communication stuff or something. I wasn't entirely sure. Didn't think of anything of it at the time, and I don't mistrust them per se, but that is something to keep in mind, maybe. I put my hat back on, but I can't actually because these things.
I think it's hard to know the intentions of Patch or Sedona or any of these folks, or Jade, or really any, or even me or you. So it's hard.
All right, what read am I getting off of Peach?
I'm gonna get strapped down.
Yeah, there's a moment that passes as Mason, in the wake of Peach's words, you sort of turn your full attention, sort of investigative mind, to Peach.
Yeah,
you sort of
that sounded kind of suspicious, huh?
And then Peach, you also turn and like regard Mason in kind, as you both sort of like very slowly regard each other, and then go back to sort of.
The conversation peters out, and they just.
Yeah, we're like,
Yeah.
I love that. That's so good.
I think out of the four of us, I think Mason and I are the ones more immediately to do that. So I think that's funny.
Yeah.
It literally was not even on Bina's like radar to accuse anyone immediately, and then you're like, we don't know who it was, and she was like, wait a second, hold on, I don't like that thought.
Yeah.
I am going to specifically, for specific reasons, I'm going to offer this GM intrusion to Mason.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I like.
All right, you're gonna take it?
I am. You're all right. Like, yes.
Go ahead and
take it.
Go ahead and give the other one to somebody else.
Ooh. Interesting. All right. Should I
give this XP to someone you might distrust in this moment?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Give it to the mole.
But I don't. I'm thinking in terms of who has the least amount, though. Actually, who has like little to no that I could like give some to, just because that's how I feel like doing it today.
I have several, so probably not me.
I have no XP because I increased my capabilities before we
Oh, and I did
started,
too. So actually, let me just, because we both increased our capabilities today, let me give you an XP.
All right.
Oh, thank you. We're like
Yeah.
considering each other. We're like,
Yeah, exactly.
And then I get an XP.
I'd like you to be at the top of your game. This
Yeah.
is gonna be.
There's-
I would like you to be a formidable
What's that?
opponent.
Yeah. It's
In,
no
uh,
fun
Be a
if you
doozy.
tell me right away.
in Parks and Rec, Jen Barkley, where she's like, if you don't have anybody to play chess against, play against yourself.
Yes.
No, so in this moment, as you're regarding each other, Mason, you hear sort of like, an exclamation, and then like a scuffling sound. And you turn around, and you see Jade, sort of like stumble, like from wherever he was standing, and he like stops, frozen, just staring at all of you. He says, "I was just coming to tell you that everything is
Kid, come in here.
okay." He steps inside very slowly. He says, "Is there? I mean, I."
He heard everything, right?
He
heard everything.
From his demeanor, it appears
He
like
heard it all.
Yeah, it seems like he heard
Yeah,
everything.
okay.
I
Yeah,
love
that's what I
Jade when he
thought.
thinks he's in trouble. Like
Are
it's the funniest. Like
Are y'all still in the bridge? Is that where this is taking
Yeah,
place?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on the bridge. Yeah.
Okay, Olim's still hunched over in the corner, like ravenously watching this program.
Yeah.
I think
Try to-
Vina's been slowly on her way out of the bridge for the past like several
Yeah.
minutes, but still has not left. Like
Yeah.
Keith and I were just sitting and talking.
Yeah. And Jade says, "I mean, I wasn't trying to. I mean, you were all just talking, and I was coming to tell.
what's up? What's up in the engine room?
Oh, I was coming to say that everything's.
It's holding?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Do you really think that somebody on the ship called them?
Olim like kind of grits his teeth for a second. He's like, "It's not a matter of what we think. It's a matter of what the records show. Somebody said."
Yeah, there was a message sent
Yes.
from here. Supposedly. I don't know. Yeah. It's in there.
Well,
She points at the running thing that's trying to open the data packet.
It wasn't me. I swear. I mean, not that. I mean, I just don't want you to
Jade.
think that.
You don't seem like you don't seem like the best liar at this moment. I don't think it was you.
Yeah, you're a good kid, and on the plus side, here's some thought.
You deflate entirely.
At least you know now that your mechanic skills aren't, bad or anything. You did
Wait.
fine. There's something else.
Wait, you think that whoever sent the message sabotaged the ship?
I mean, it
Awful
did seem a little
convenient.
convenient.
It's
yeah.
a working theory, right? You guys agree?
It's a hypothesis.
Hypothesis. I would know that.
I don't know if that counts when it's outside of scientific theory. I have no idea.
Good
That's
call back, Caitlin.
Yeah.
That was good.
call back to myself from earlier
Yeah.
in the episode.
That's what we call a callback, folks, to Act 1.
And Jade just says, "Whoa. Well, I mean that. Oh, that's the other thing I was coming to tell you is, while I was, like, making sure that while I was monitoring the power couplings, I actually did find something weird.
What?
What'd you find?
Well, I mean, at first I thought it was maybe just something that I overlooked, but now that you're saying this, there's a short in one of the connectors to the couplings.
Bina just like throws all four arms up in the air and like walks like a small loop and then comes back and like whoop crosses all of them and just like settles back in to listen.
He says,
to the rest of
I
what he's
I
saying.
just saw it, like right as I was just now as I was checking. I didn't notice it when we were pulling the couplings, but
Is it a new one? What? Is it new? Is it a new damage?
I mean, maybe. I didn't notice it when I was doing checks before we left the station, but I sort of chalked it up until now. I sort of chalked it up to maybe just my lack of attention. But if you think somebody sabotaged it, it would actually make sense because it was only the one, and if one of the power couplings failed, it would put a lot of strain on the other ones, which would have then shorted the rest of them. With enough
Like
power
Christmas
running through them,
lights.
with enough power running through them, it would have shorted. They would have shorted eventually, but not immediately. Like maybe with an FTL jump. That that's probably what did it. That's why it didn't happen immediately. It wasn't. Nobody damaged the conduits or the couplings. They just one of them shorted and the rest of them followed with enough power running through them.
Well, I don't know what that tells us, except that this is Bina's no good, very bad day. And I'm going to need a very good nap after we figure all this out. And that's all I have to say about that. She's going to pull up, she's going to try to pull up some diagnostics, like engineering diagnostics from here, just to kind of like see if she can pinpoint when exactly like it started failing.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't take you long to find that, especially with Alma's help. As you just sort of scroll through, and eventually you find that in fact there was sort of a very slight, not enough to trip any alarms, but a slight power drain that was coming from there. Like you see a surge, just barely a blip, something you probably wouldn't have even registered. There's a surge, and then immediately after that is where the power drain started, which indicates, from what you're seeing, it indicates that Jade's thoughts are correct.
Mm-hmm. How much do we know at this point about how interconnected Alma is with the functionality of the physical ship? Do we know any? Have we figured very little?
Very little. Like the most, you know that she has some control over a lot of the ship's systems.
Yes.
You're not sure otherwise. It's
okay.
Yeah.
With like power levels and stuff kind of like up still, I just want to be like, is this affecting you at all?
She's not in the room. She's not in the room.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, she'll say it out loud anyways, the same way. Like, is this affecting you at all? Is there anything we can do to help in the meantime?
She rematerializes and then just says, I can feel the strain, but it's not. I'm fine.
Okay, you let me know if there's anything we can do to make it easier before we get there, because we got like what 55 minutes left till Nebula time.
Something like that.
Okay, hang in there. We'll do the same thing, and that's all I have to say on that. She's gonna go back to looking through.
Jade just looks up and says, "Well, if we're getting ready, we should. What do we do? We have to find whoever this is, right?"
I think the first priority is getting to a safe location. All of our communications are going to be dampened, so there's no way that they'd be able to follow us. Hopefully,
we do currently have an hour of absolutely nothing.
And
so, do what you will.
even with comms snuffed, any location we find will not be a safe location if there's somebody on this ship who's trying to get us killed.
That's what I'm saying. You have an hour.
I kind of slowly look at Mason now. Who could it be?
Let me just draw up a little theory for you. I don't know how Mason would proceed with this actually, so probably just like what I'm thinking is this is a very peculiar thing. I don't know what really to do in this situation. You guys probably could think easily, right? This could be me. So you can't trust me to do the right thing or to even ask questions.
Well, don't say that.
Well, it's not me.
Venus
I
just been
think-
like groaning through this whole thing. Like,
I mean, I think at this point we have to assume that at least, I mean, none of us would gain from Silverbreak finding us. What would we gain from that? I mean, we'd just be in a lab somewhere at best, or we'd be, I mean, why would it be one of us?
So
I mean,
Mason
we've been
has
talking. Yeah, we've been
eliminate
talking.
eliminate us.
I mean, we've been talking benefit of the doubt, but also seeing the flip side. I mean, any one of us could turn the rest of us in for a favor from Silverbreak. I mean,
I don't think they honor favors.
I'm just
I
saying.
think they take what they want.
I mean, doesn't mean that anybody knows that, or I mean, if someone was feeling desperate, we don't know each other. I'm just saying, if you're gonna give benefit of the doubt, we should see the other side too.
Well, we're
I don't
not
know if we can cross anybody off the list.
We're not crossed off. I'm putting us in the back burner because I have another proposal to bring up.
Okay.
Patch. I bring up. We don't know much. I can't get a read off them.
They also don't
They
like
were-
to answer questions about, well, anything, actually.
I mean, that describes more than one person on this ship. Not to be rude, but
I mean, we don't know Patch's motives, so if they're looking for something that Silverbreak could offer, it's not impossible that they'd be on their side. I hate to suggest this one, but Abriel was at a Silverbreak facility. I mean, that's suspicious in of itself.
Jade speaks up and says, but she's healed us so many times, and there's so many times that she could have turned us in at any point. Right?
this is kind of elaborate.
He like looks, after saying that, he looks at Mason and goes, right?
What?
Oh, Jade, he looks at you and just goes, right, is that right?
Maybe.
I mean, it's kind of elaborate for, I mean, something that she's been with us for so long. She, like you said, she could have done it at any point. And with Patch, I don't know. Again, on the other side, they don't work with organics very often. It seems like we might be some of the first organics they've had prolonged contact to. I find it hard to believe they have a contact in Silverbreak. But also, again, I don't know. Same for everybody. But I'm just saying, if we're gonna bring out one side for everybody, you have to see the flip side too.
Of course, gotta do that. Can I see this message?
Has it been decrypted yet?
It's
I'm constantly glancing back
yeah.
to it. trying
Right
to
now, it's probably about 65%.
say it's over half done, but I can't really make it's meaningless so far.
That's
If
peace.
we get some, Mason, if you rule out some people and we have some top suspects, I mean, I don't want to do it unless we're sure, but I mean, I might be able to find out.
What do you propose?
I mean, I seem to be able to go into people's minds with some level of ease.
Forgive me. Both Patch and Abriel, way I remember it,
I don't know about Patch.
we more or less saved their lives. It would be pretty low to turn on us after that. Maybe they're low. And on the other hand, none of us know a damn thing about Sedona.
You, Bina, feel like
Yep.
just from Jade, you feel like surprise, anxiety, and then immediately afterwards, just a deep hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I already did kind of throw shade at her earlier, but like gently, so hopefully that.
I think my eyes flick really quickly to Jade, but I don't look him in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no access points to any sort of like communications in the blind spots of Awakener. She wouldn't have had contact with anyone except for Jade up until she ended up in the med bay, in which point she had Abriel had eyes on her until we saw her today. Trust me, it's annoying that there aren't communication terminals in maintenance ways. However,
Jade sort of very quietly speaks up and just says, "But it couldn't." And he just sort of like his head just drops, and Alma says, "That doesn't mean that she couldn't, that she was in the maintenance ways the whole time."
that's true.
I mean,
But if she had left, would you have noticed her?
not necessarily. I
Oh,
didn't.
that's fair.
I don't know who, if anybody, sabotaged the engines.
I mean, Sedona seemed really desperate, and desperate people sometimes don't always make the smartest choices.
Calling Silverbreak is a very specific thing. Very specific.
Alma nods, says, "It means they'd have to know something about who we are."
Oh, Lucas, we can't hear you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Alma nods and says, "It means they would have to know something about who we are.
Yeah.
Whoever contacted them."
This isn't like a one-off communications either. Like this seems planned, right? Like this had to have been multiple communications to set this up, wouldn't it have been?
Alma looks
Doesn't
over.
seem like a one and done,
Says-
does it?
Olam, can you scan the rest of the communications logs? Go back as far as, start with a month. See what. I mean, not a month. Start with when you first came on board,
Right.
and since we left the colony.
So I go back, and I guess I'm looking for more sent to the same hub as this one that's decoding, I guess. I'm just pouring through all of them.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be a communication to the same hub because your position.
Command F Silverbreak.
Yeah, your
Coordinates.
position
That's
would.
what I'm doing this.
Yeah, because your
Like
position
in the
would
dock.
change, and so
Yes,
the nearest relay would change depending on your position. But
Right.
sort of, so you go searching through, and I'm not gonna make this a roll because you kind of know what you're looking for now. And as you sort of start going through the communications logs, you don't find anything immediately obvious or egregious, but after a little while, you start finding evidence of more scrubbed logs. And you start finding them, more and more of them. The earliest one that you find, then you stop finding them. The earliest one that you find, started right around the time you first arrived, at the station, station 43.
Was that?
That's where
Hold on.
that's where you just departed from
The first time.
the first time. Yeah.
And
So
we
we
had.
went straight from Sulon to there. Is that true?
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
communications
Yes.
would have started right around, would have been, you can't pinpoint the exact moment, but it would have been right around the time when your first time on station 43.
So that doesn't cut out anybody from the list. Everyone who is on board now was on board by the time we left Station 43 the first time.
Yeah. We picked up Patch from Sulon, right?
Nope,
That's not
Station
me
43.
missing-
No, from Station
No,
43.
yeah.
But we
Right,
picked
so-
up Sedona from
Sulon.
Sulon. So they were
Sulon.
both on board when these transmissions started.
The transmission started while we were at Station 43?
It started
Or
in,
after we had left.
yeah, it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but it's somewhere.
Right. So
Yeah.
it could clear Patch, but it doesn't.
It doesn't clear anyone.
Yeah.
You said it stopped?
Oh,
for a while?
it stopped as he was going back, which is where he found the earliest one.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, gosh, even though they've been scrubbed, are there any time signatures or anything? Can I glean any pattern of transmission?
What I will say, the one thing that sets them apart from the one that you found today,
Uh-huh.
is that the rest of them are much more thoroughly scrubbed. The one from today, has way more detail than any of the rest of them. For one thing, you don't know what the contents of the other transmissions were, whether it was data packets or just text. It's impossible to tell. You also don't know like where they were sent. You just see scrubbed transmissions. Like you see them by their absence, essentially.
Right.
Like
I'm
holes
saying
in the
all this-
logs, basically.
Yeah. I'm speaking all this out loud to everybody in the room here.
Bina very guiltily tries to get a read on Jade as new information comes to light.
Yeah. He hasn't been paying attention for the last several minutes. And he is still very.
Oh, he's sad about the implications of Sedona.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I saw when I saw Sedona running and kind of in her memory, did the figures that were chasing her, did they look like they were like corporate? Like, did they look like Silverbreak goons, or were they just like masked figures? Like,
you caught bare glimpses as mostly they ran past where she was hiding. But as you sort of think
like
back,
would they be mercs? Like, what? Like, is there any kind of affiliation that would?
yeah, as you think back to sort of the vision that you saw, you're thinking back to it. You trying to collect any new information, like recalling, like trying to recall parts of a dream that have been lost to waking.
Yeah.
As you're reaching, some details start coming back. You notice first a long coat, then 4 arms, and then a bright yellow long jacket.
So, how do I see those? What?
It's just recalling the premonition that you had now in slightly like it's details that are coming back to you from what you saw. Probably the thing is, it's kind of weird. You saw everything from Sedona's perspective, but you're picking it apart with your brain. And so it's likely that what you saw is what Sedona perceived in the moment. But it's unlikely that she even recalls these details. This is Peach recalling from Sedona's observation.
So she saw us specifically.
Seems like it.
Okay.
Gosh.
How far till drop?
By this point, there's probably about 20 minutes left.
Just 20 more minutes. Just get us 20 more minutes. She's like talking to the ship, like, we can do this. It's fine. You can make it.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be good. Just hang in there. I just want to just get us to the nebula. Like, she's.
At this point, by the way, you hear footsteps in the hallway. As Abriel peeks her head back into the bridge, she says, "So everybody uninjured? Everybody's good?"
Yeah. Got bigger fish to fry, I think.
Yeah. Well,
Bina kind of like looks at everyone to try to get an indication if we feel like we should, like, what's the play here?
Abriel, I think I might have a little headache. If you wouldn't mind looking for me.
sure. Step on over. I guess it's too much to hope that we can go one jump without somebody ending up in the med bay. Why stop? Why break the pattern now? Come with me.
Okay.
I'm stupid.
I'm gonna give Mason a wink as I walk and follow him. Is she gonna take me back to the med bay?
Yeah.
Significant wink.
I
Back.
guess when they leave the bridge,
In a
Bina's
way.
gonna be like, "Oh, you guys, the self-restraint took to not just ask her about it. Can we just tell her about it? Can we just tell her about what we found, and then I can see if she has a reaction to it? Would that work? Can we do that?"
I say I
think
Peach probably has something in mind, but if it
I
doesn't
know.
work,
then
I
we'll
like-
go to your plan for sure.
I don't like lying by a mission. I want to talk to
I-
everybody on the ship, but I know we can recognize that it's probably not a very good idea.
Alma just says, the key thing is that we keep everything smooth as possible while we sort out the situation with Awakener.
That's true. It's got to happen first.
We just need to make sure that nothing else goes wrong between now and the full repair of the ship.
Full power.
At which point Jade's head suddenly comes up. He says, I'm gonna go check on Sedona, and he like stands up and just like runs down the hallway.
I would like to follow him.
Yeah. I will say this, that what you get from him is like at the end of like his reaction was absolutely prompted by Alma's statement, and you just suddenly felt like a surge of alarm from him. Yeah. So
I'm not necessarily being like, I'm not announcing that I'm following him, but I'm also not attempting to be subterfuge. I'm just following and hoping that he's distracted enough with his own panic that I can keep. I'm not going to fall in stride with him. I'm following him.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to get. My hope here is that he's going to tell Sedona something, and I can gauge her reaction.
Okay. You follow Jade. We'll come back to that.
Yes.
First,
Yeah.
anything else on the bridge? Anything else that the two of you are doing?
After Bina just turns and leaves without saying anything.
I'll stick here with you if you don't mind. I'd like to take a look at this this outgoing message once it is complete.
I like look over my shoulder at Mason and try not to fixate on how much taller than me he is and how he's always carrying a gun. And then I'm like, yeah, it should be. I check what percentage done it looks like.
Okay. It's at 68% at the moment.
Oh my god.
Say, it's going slow, but yeah.
Well,
If you stay
we
here,
got
you'll be the first to know once it's.
got a lot of time. Just shake the dust off my head.
Yeah. Alma immediately settles into the pilot's seat, and she just says, "Guess I'm sticking around for a while too."
Does Alma still? Does she still seems? She still has that this weakness and tiredness in her voice. That
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go quickly cut to Peach and Abriel in the infirmary, as Abriel is sort of like doing the classic like shining a light in your eyes, sort of like checking.
And I'm kind of like, oh.
Yeah, just sort of
like...
checking your pupils. Just keep them open. And she's just sort of looking. She says, okay. She says,
Hamming it up.
yeah, just doing the whole look left, look right. Okay. Says, well, doesn't seem to be anything wrong with you physically, so I would
bill
say,
of health.
pretty much. But if it's still bothering you, say in an hour, if it's still bothering you, let me know and I can give you something for the pain.
Thanks. I think it might have just been the jump and the stop and all the chaos.
Yeah, stress certainly has a way of exacerbating existing circumstances, symptoms.
Ariel, can I ask you something?
I suppose.
Nothing too big. I mean, we just keep getting thrown into scrape after scrape after scrape.
I've noticed.
And, well, while I really appreciate you being here and everyone else really appreciates you being here, I can't help but thinking you're putting yourself in danger every single day. And, I mean...
You mean as opposed to where I was before?
What made you put your faith in us? Why are you still here?
You want me gone? Is that it?
No. Who else can I get to check out my headache?
Well, the truth is, even before you knew, I knew that it couldn't be coincidence what happened to the colony, that Silverbreak had to be involved in some way. Like I said, I didn't get a lot of chances to study the warped, but it didn't seem like any kind of infection that I knew, and there was something that was off, something wrong. And it didn't feel like something... It couldn't have been something that was native to the planet. We'd run all kinds of scans and tests. It's all we'd been doing the whole time that we'd been there. Even before we had it confirmed, I suspected that Silverbreak was involved in some way, had done something to those people. Whether knowingly or through negligence, doesn't matter. I had to know what it was. I figured you were the best chance of finding out. The unlikely crew of misfits that dropped from the sky saved those of us that were left and managed to piss off Silverbreak in the process enough to glass an entire colony. So, it's the best shot I had, I think. I think some part of me feels responsible for what happened there, because I couldn't do more. Maybe this is the best chance I'll have to do something.
Can I get a read on her?
Do you want to?
It sounded very genuine. Like, it sounded very genuine, but I just want to know, like...
Do you want to make a roll, or do you want to make another insight spend?
Well, if
Be two spend.
it would be a two. It would just be a two spend because
It's
of my
3
edge.
with your edge, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could roll.
What would be the difficulty? Would I know that?
Yeah, I can tell you the difficulty on that one on the check, on the roll would be. I'd say it'd probably be a difficulty 4.
Okay.
The difference
do this bet,
the difference between
the
the two is that the roll is going to give you your impressions, and the insight spend is going to give you an objective answer.
Okay, I'm gonna do the insight spend.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what is it? So you're trying to determine the truth of what she said.
Yeah, I'm trying to determine like how much of what she said is genuine, like if it's entirely genuine, if she is exaggerating. Like I want to read her intentions completely. Sure. When she says Silverbreak, I want to know her intonation. Like I want to know exactly what she means.
Okay. So here's what I will give you is that she is telling you the truth. That much is clear. She is pretty you don't get anything out of the ordinary from like any specific thing that she says. What she is telling you, she's telling you the truth. You get the impression that there is probably more to it, but at least what she has told you is true.
Okay. Thanks for checking out my head.
Yeah, let me know if it keeps bothering you, and I'll take a look.
Yeah. And the planet, everything that happened on the colony, don't feel any kind of responsibility for that. We know who was really at blame.
Well, thanks for saying so, and she kind of tugs at her ripped, like the sleeves that she ripped, like medical coat, and she just sort of tugs it. She says, kind of comes with the territory, though. Anyway, I'll be here if any more catastrophic rib bruisings take place.
Thanks. We'll know where to find you.
And she settles back at the corner of the room. So there's sort of like a desk that runs around the like entirety of the outside, like the wall, and she sort of sits in kind of her corner of it where she's set up a workstation. We'll cut back at that moment back to Bina as you are following.
Right. I had a task.
Yeah, you're following Jade. You follow him right into the crew quarters as he rounds the corner into the room, or into the section of the quarters where Sedona is. You just, and as you sort of round the corner, you can just sort of see him standing there at the end, just like outside of the bunk, looking into it, kind of his hand on the door. As he kind of turns back and looks at you, Bina, he said, "She's not there."
Okay. Let's find her.
That's where we're going to pick up next week.
Fuck yeah.
Is it? What the
Fuck
hell?
yeah.
It's-
We're over by 20
yeah.
minutes.
We
I didn't know what
Classic.
time it was.
yeah.
Oh no.
Oh
Classic.
my god.
Happy Thursday from the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, you guys.
Yep.
Give me claustrophobic, paranoid space horror right now.
God.
Wow.
Okay, well, it is an Abriel. We know it is an Abriel. I was pretty convinced it's not Abriel.
I say that we can't rule anybody out yet, including us, but like
Yeah.
I'm so worried. I'm so worried, guys. I'm so worried that Alma is just getting possessed by Silverbreak and projecting our location. That's my biggest fear right now, because
Yeah,
we can't do
honestly,
shit about that.
Me too. It's like I'm ignoring it because I don't know what to do about it.
Anna is like at her most frazzled right now because she feels entirely useless, and we're about to be a sitting duck, which makes her even more anxious. So this whole thing is about to be like being a blow up zone. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is,
Oh boy.
tensions are high.
I gotta talk to Patch at some point.
God,
I think I'm the only one who has any grasp on him at all.
Guys,
Because I think
just
we
realized
talked, me and Lucas talked a while ago about how like Bina can kind of decipher, has found equivalents for his like other language of emotions, and it's little, but at least I've got a maybe a grasp.
Are we quarantined in game too right
Yes.
now?
Yes.
I'm thinking about The Thing and Alien. I'm thinking about all the 80s
yeah.
horror movies where people are in a small space with each other and shit.
Yeah.
bad.
Listen, I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna say much because we've got our Ramblemancy this week on
Yes.
this exact thing. But
oh yeah, we do.
but-
we do.
what I will say is and many of you have heard me say it before, but one of the things I've been looking forward to with the move to like the sci-fi genre, is these like purely contained within the ship stories, like
Gross.
Boiler episode. Is that what it is?
bottle episode.
Bottle episode.
Yeah,
that's
bottle
what it is.
episode,
Not
exactly.
boiler.
I want
So-
these schematics more than ever, man. I want to.
On that note, I would like to run through
Yeah,
our
go for it.
announcements real quick right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This is fantastic. I had so much fun. There's a bunch of good ways to keep in touch with us, support us, and check out our content. We have a Patreon. We have a little coffee. We have
Just a little one.
just a little one. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch Infinite Horizon, and including some like prologue character stuff on there. You can listen to it in podcast form on Anchor and through there, but bunch of other platforms. Wherever,
9 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever you want to listen to podcasts. And we have a Discord, which I think we mentioned earlier. So join the Discord, talk with us about whatever the heck you want.
Come
we
yell
just-
with us about this current episode
right,
in the
talk
state of
about-
affairs.
we finally had a game run with Roll20 in our Discord, run by Der Panduin, who's one of our moderators, and it was really fun. So there's going to be more of that coming. And like Lucas mentioned, this Friday's Ramblemancy will be an Infinite Horizon Q&A.
Yeah.
So join us then on Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, to talk about this show. Ask any questions you have. If you can't make it, then you can ask questions. There's a tweet on Twitter that I'll retweet tomorrow, but also in the Ramblemancy Discord channel. So if you join there. You drop questions there. We'll address them on stream, and then you can
Yeah.
see the answers on VOD or YouTube in a couple days
Yeah.
after.
And to that point, first of all, that yes, Ramblemancy with starting with our Ramblemancy Unplugged last week. This week, starting like Ramblemancy will be coming to YouTube from now on. So you'll be able to see those as well. So we'll be doing that. And about the Discord, because I don't think anybody said it yet. If you are a subscriber right here on Twitch, you also get the lowest tiers of the Patreon rewards through the Discord. So there is those of you who are subscribed on Twitch and connect your Twitch to your Discord. There is there's a channel that is called, I believe it's called Patreon Rewards or subscriber.
It's called subscriber.
It's called something like that. It's called Subscriber Rewards.
Yeah.
That channel has had its name changed a few times. Anyway, it's called Subscriber.
That is for you.
Let me try that again in English. It's called Subscriber Rewards, and on that channel is where you'll get notifications of new content drops on the Patreon. Which there is one now. There is one every week. Different weeks have different things, so keep an eye out for that. You'll get access to those things. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Very serendipitous that we ended up moving our a Q&A one week, and now we get to talk about this episode live with chat.
Yeah.
We kind of don't, and you know why?
Oh, that's right.
We have a 1 week spoiler ban.
1 week spoiler ban.
Damn it.
Rip.
Okay,
We're gonna want to, but we can't.
I know. So here's the thing, because I'm not sure. I think incidentally, many of us will just probably end up talking about it anyway, like by accident. I'm sort of
Lift the ban for this week.
I sort of think I want to
Just-
lift the ban
yeah.
for this week, and the thing that I'm gonna do, because earlier that day, usually 11 a.m. Pacific is when the latest episode ends up on YouTube.
Mhm.
So if you have a chance, that'd be a good time to catch up with it. If not, you can, like I said, you can ask questions ahead of time, as Henry was mentioning, and you can save yourself the spoilers until after you've seen the episode, but still have your questions answered. So
That is
that's
such
good,
a
yeah.
smart way to do it.
Yeah. And again, just contact us through Discord, on Twitter, ask questions in whatever
Yeah.
way you're comfortable, and we'll find.
Come
an
yell
answer.
with us.
I think
We will
we'll
be
make it- we'll
freaking
make
out.
It clear on Friday too that it's gonna be spoilers for the
Yeah.
most recent ones. How it is, damn it.
Yeah.
We got it.
I know.
We got it.
All right. Well, finally, as always, thank you so much to Monte Games, not only for
Yes.
creating this
Yeah.
fantastic game that we are all playing, but also
Oh, we love Cypher.
I love Cypher so much. Like the more I play it, the more I fall in love with it. But also
Mhm.
today for quote retweeting our
Yeah, thank
our
you,
post.
Monte
Thank
Games,
you so
for
much, Monte
promoting
Games.
us.
Yeah.
That was
That
so
That was
nice of
huge.
them.
There was a solid like half an hour where all of us were freaking out at different levels in our group chat.
It's
So
made us so happy.
Good,
So-
great people, great games.
yeah. All right. With that, I think. Oh, real quick because it's there. Don't forget that we have an Infinite Horizon T-shirt. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
I was
We
looking at the screen and I was
do.
waiting for it to change down here. But we have
Can't wait to get
yeah
mine.
we have a
Quite the same.
an Infinite Horizon T-shirt. It's there. It's very exciting, and I already got mine. I keep forgetting that I did it,
Ah.
and it's gonna be a surprise when it shows up because I will still have forgotten when it shows up. So you can get that in the link in right there in the chat. And for those of you watching on YouTube, all of the things that we talked about, there's a link in the description. So, yeah. There's a lot of shouting in the chat. Some of it was at me, and some of it was freaking out for us
I
about Monte
relate.
Games. So,
Mhm.
bring that same shouty energy to the Q&A on Friday. All right.
We have a lot of shouting to do.
We-
I'm sure we will be shouting a lot.
All right. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for those of you who tuned in live for the first time. Welcome. I hope it lived up to the
Yeah.
hype.
Thanks for the follows and the subs.
Yes, thank you so
Yeah.
much for that, and for everybody who just hung out. As always, we love our lurkers. We'll talk to you hopefully on Friday, and we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night, everybody.
Bye. See you again soon. Good night.
Good
Stay
night.
well. Stay safe.